So again, really looking forward to meeting you. Stop by, say hello.
That sounds fantastic. So everyone make sure to attend Cradle's first annual Study Abroad conference at Gallant Mall Parklands in Nairobi and at Okoh Hotel in Eldoret. Make sure to register by visiting www.cradle.com, that's CRAYDEL.com, or call 0799 000 444, 0799 000 444. Looking to upgrade your kitchenware, furniture, or electronics? We've got the best deals for you. Digger Shop, your one-stop online store for electronics, furniture, kitchenware, and more. Buy online now and enjoy fast and convenient countrywide delivery in just 48 hours. Here's the best part. Every Saturday from 6:30 p.m. you get exclusive discounts on your favorite items during Shop.Digger Show on KTN. So why wait? Visit shop.digger.co.ke and experience convenience at your fingertips. Digger Shop. Fast, easy, affordable. Hi everyone, you may have heard about Cradle's first annual Study Abroad conference happening on January 18th in Nairobi and on January 27th in Eldoret. Can you tell us what students can expect?
University of Limerick is one of the large government-led, research-led universities in the Republic of Ireland. 97% of our graduates are in employment upon graduation. All of our undergraduate students do a 6 to 9 month work placement as part of their programme, and it's paid and it's in an area relevant to your studies. And our most popular programmes are in science, engineering, business, humanities, health sciences, and arts, humanities and law.
That sounds fantastic. So everyone make sure to attend Cradle's first annual Study Abroad conference at Gallant Mall Parklands in Nairobi and at Okoh Hotel in Eldoret. Make sure to register by visiting www.cradle.com, that's CRAYDEL.com, or call 0799 000 444, 0799 000 444.
Good morning and welcome to Monday. All right, the heavens have opened and that means things have slowed down considerably. But we'll see what happens as we get into this Monday. It's raining all over the country, so everybody's going to be a little bit more careful and fog lights up as we're getting from point A to point B. Sindo, all right, a quick look at what's happening. Coming off of Thika Superhighway, we're not seeing too much with traffic here. Just as you get, well, actually, even before you approach Survey, there's a little bit of traffic. There's a hold up there. Not quite sure what's causing that. Just after the Outer Ring Junction, and a little bit of traffic also just past Survey. We know that is going to pick up. Off the jump on Kangundo Road, there is some traffic as well, and it looks like it's going to get busier as we get into Monday. Everywhere else around the city seems to be moving hunky-dory, not a problem, at least not for now. Let's see what happens this Monday morning as we get into it, and we try to keep things moving. Talk to us on Spice FM KE, hashtag the Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
Did you get the memo that it was going to start raining on Friday night?
Yes, I got the memo.
My goodness, why didn't you tell the rest of us?
I did.
No, you didn't.
I said this heat portends rain.
Oh, you did actually?
Yes, I did.
Ah.
Because Friday was sweltering. It was not just your average hot day. It was pumped up heat. The day before was hot. It's like from Wednesday, just kept getting hotter and hotter and hotter. Now Friday, our mind was something else.
It was likely to do that.
Yes.
But I mean, you know me now. I like the cool weather. I love the smell of rain. All of that just makes me happy.
Yeah, you? You're probably amphibious.
I thought you were going to call me a special child. Oh, you're calling me a frog.
No, I didn't say that.
Amphibian is a frog. By the way, what other amphibians are there apart from frogs?
I was about to say snake, then I remembered it's a reptile.
Snake is a reptile. They're not easy to find, these amphibians. What else is an amphibian?
See, you're just describing yourself.
Special child.
They are not very difficult. They are not very easy to find, these amphibians. A newt.
A newt is an amphibian. I was going to say tadpole. But tadpole eventually becomes a frog.
Yeah, but while they're tadpoles, they're still amphibians.
Isn't it?
Yeah, they don't, it becomes a frog, so it changes, but it doesn't change from being amphibian to something else. It's still an amphibian.
Lizard? No, lizard is a reptile.
But yeah, so we're told.
Hey. What's the difference between the two?
Which and which?
Amphibian and reptile. My goodness, I can't remember anything, Mr. Personnel.
Reptiles are cold-blooded.
Amphibians are not?
I have no idea.
Oh, good Lord. This is science. Why can't I remember any of this?
You at least, you say you can't remember any of this. Me, I can't remember all of this. Beyond reptile and mammal. There's crustaceans.
Crustaceans are like crabs and lobsters and shrimps and those guys.
Yes. Then there's also another group that I'm forgetting.
I remember invertebrates because like Avin was...
Fish is not a reptile.
A fish is not a reptile.
There's a what?
A what?
What is fish?
I have
no reptile,
idea.
It's not amphibian. It's not crustacean.
It's a fish.
There's a group that is slipping my mind here.
Oh my goodness. What is going on? I'm worried.
Monday morning.
Mr. Personnel would be very upset because he was quite visual in his teaching.
Monday morning.
No. I have to go and study this thing again. It's disturbing me.
I think I was taught in primary school and I've clearly forgotten. But primary school was a long way away.
No. This thing is bothering me.
My friend, you will find out what it is sooner rather than later.
I'll find out. In fact, I'm going to go and study those things again. And I'll come back tomorrow and tell you who is what and what is what.
Bright-eyed, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No. It's bothering me. I have to go find out. But good morning, first of all.
Good morning.
Wewe iko salama?
Niko salama sana.
Very, very good.
Yes.
You know what?
Tell me what?
People saw you somewhere yesterday and they're already saying that you did a good job somewhere where you did something yesterday.
People saw me?
Yeah.
Saw me? On a Sunday? Where did they see me?
Don't worry. They'll tell us more details. When we greet them, they will tell us. Abi?
Okay. These people who see other people.
They're seers.
They're seers, right, they're seers.
Well, so good morning, everybody. And it's a rainy morning around the country. And rain is coming down in sheets everywhere you look, really. But this is a good thing to be thankful for, isn't it? Getting into Kenya's biggest conversation this morning. And we're glad that you're already joining us. And obviously get into a lot more that we're going to discuss today. Let me tell you some of the conversations that we'll be having this morning. Dennis Aseto is not here this week because he's trotted off to have a discussion with the fellows at the EU Parliament. And... let's see what results from that this week, shall we? All right. In the meantime, let me tell you some of those conversations that we will have today. At 7 o'clock, the government speaks, right? And the government speaks through certain people. Today, the deputy spokesman, the government of Kenya, Gabriel Muthuma, will be with us here at 7 o'clock. And we'll be looking at issues of how effective the government's delivery plan is. Remember that a couple of days ago, people said, look, if you have a vision bearer and then you have those who are vision carriers, if you change or add to your vision carriers along the way, does that then topple your delivery plan in any way, shape or form? Does that happen? And so that's the conversation that we will be having at 7 o'clock. And then at 8 o'clock, Dr. Mutuma Rutere, who is a director of National Crime Research Center. Did you know that there was a thing like that? We'll be talking about the femicide crisis in Kenya and what the data shows and what we should do about it. And I have issues already. My issues are from here to there. 100 million shillings was given for this supposed kitty. If I show you what the 100 million shillings and how it was divided, you shout and you start crying this morning. But because I do not want you to cry, I will not tell you now. I will tell you later.
Is it on this crime, my beloved country situations?
Omo, they had to do scalloping for tents, 100,000. The chairs, 100,000. I don't know what.
Do you remember
nonsense,
the time when
samosa.
There was this very terrible accident at Londiani? A lorry the lorry went berserk and plowed into a whole slew of shops and kibandas along the wayside, and many people died. The president went there with his troops. And money was raised.
Yes.
When it was now being divvied up, if you recall, suddenly the county officials were taking the bulk of that money, and you're wondering, what on earth is this? The people for whom the money was raised were actually considered probably as the third option.
Imagine. Crazy stuff. Well, in this case, every county gets 930 something. I think almost $1 million shillings. Every county gets $1 million shillings.
To do what with?
To fight femicide.
You just move along, please.
That's why I said I don't want to anger you this morning.
Move along.
So, and then, look.
Move along.
Okay, I'm moving along swiftly, even swiftier. And then at 9 o'clock, so education is a big topic that we keep discussing. And it's really interesting because we get to have diverse views and diverse directions in terms of what we should actually be doing as concerns education. There's a gentleman, his name is Harrison Agosa. He's an edutech enthusiast, and we'll be talking about technological solutions in education and how that can actually help. And that will be at 9 o'clock. Now, guys, if you hear a chuckle in the corner, somebody's just laughing there, deep voice. Have you heard it? that one.
It's like some of these supercharged vehicles, which have turbo.
All you need to do is press the gas, and then it goes.
Apt description.
I'm telling you. And that's one Mark Bichachi.
Hi.
Mark, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm very well.
Nice to see you.
Nice
Happy
to see
New
you.
Year.
Happy New Year.
Yes, and to you too.
Uko salama?
Niko salama. Just came out of hospital 2 days ago. So
why did you do that?
I went to see my doctor. Then they arranged accommodation for me for a week.
What?
Yeah.
Are you all right?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
But they said you need to stay here for a few days. Let's look at something.
Yeah. But I bounced back like a turbocharged engine, as he said.
And are you still bouncing?
Yes.
Bouncing, baby boy. Mark is guest hosting with us this week, and it's always a pleasure to have you here. So thanks for being here, because I mean a lot of stuff to, as they say in Kiswahili, chambua.
Yes, that's the word.
I'm learning this language by fire, by force. So that's what we'll do with those conversations that we have today. So guys, keep clicking in. We can see that the door is open. So karibu sana. All right. So as we get into things this morning, I'm going to switch it up just a little bit. And before we look into the proverb for today, let's say hello to a number of people who are tuned in this morning. Already good to see you in the room today. And you guys, we don't take it for granted at all that you join us this early as we start to have these conversations that are necessary around the country and in the region, and for sure around the world. Okay, so who is in the room this morning already? I'm just even talking to myself. Good morning. Hisa Daniel says good morning, tuned in. Bwangi Juma says it's indeed a scramble for Kenya. For those in power, hashtag it's our time. Let's enjoy. Not different from famous tunakula nyama. Na meza mate. Oh, okay. King Dave says, good morning, our elder CT and our marvelous Ndu. Can you me? I'm marvelous. Welcome back to the last week of January. I'm telling you, January did the thing. We need to congratulate January this year because, my goodness. Tibbs Muga says, good morning, team. Get the deep seek on the continent, indeed. Willie Iro says, how do you determine a murder is actually a femicide? This is a question that I ask all the time. And I will be looking into that this morning at 8. Good morning, everybody. Alex Kiprop, good morning to you. Arnold Murigi says good morning. Ngong is raining. Yes, Ngong actually is raining. Good morning, Kenya, from Nicholas Ambani. Alicia Murano says good morning. We thank God for the rains. Yes, Colchester in the UK is where Tula Omar is tuned in from. Good morning, Spice. Keep spicing up the show. Best of the best. Asante Sana for always clicking in. Ed Wins says good morning from Texas. And Moirurin Jane says good morning, listening in from Githogore. Quite a number of you online this morning. Okay, so now we're trying to help each other with this science thing. Mark, before you came, we were trying to remember our science and trying to remember, okay, amphibians are those ones who are partly live on land and partly live in water.
Correct.
Like frogs.
Yes.
But which other amphibians do you know?
Newts.
We already did newts.
Toads. Didn't see that one coming, did you?
Toads are frogs, toads, newts, cousins of frogs.
There's this thing that lives in Mexico that can stay in one stage if it doesn't come out of water. It's called what?
Salamander.
not a salamander. A salamander is also amphibian.
Salamander is amphibian.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's another one that looks like it has gills outside its face. Wow. I'll find it just now. Yeah, but there are quite few.
It has gills.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
So the classifications of animals, they're reptiles, they're amphibians. Fish are just fish.
Yes.
Abi?
But there's some fish that could qualify as amphibians, like catfish, for example.
Because a catfish can actually survive outside of water for a minute. Yeah, they can.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, all right. Let's see. Good morning, kings and queens. Matiangi has shaken them to the core. Who has he shaken? Kitengela Ikolokt. George Okoh, we greet you. Good morning, good morning. The campaigns for the 2027 election seem to be in full gear. Well, indeed they do. Kimani Kenneth says good morning from county number 19, Nyeri, the only county that has produced a president and a deputy president. Is that so? Watching from Portland, Oregon is where Mashari and Jeru is this morning. Tune into the biggest show on radio from Thika. Asante Sana, Francis Kivindo. Pap D says, Ndu, ask CT, I am asking you, are you aware that in January 1964, John Okello, a Ugandan, Luo Langi, staged a revolution in Zanzibar against Omani Arabs led by Jasmine Bin? Did you know that?
I did.
You did?
That I did.
Okay. So, Pap D, the answer to your question is yes, he actually is aware.
That one I'm very aware.
Tanya, good morning to you. CT blessed us in church yesterday at Nairobi Chapel. Job well done, Muga. You see, I told you people saw you. You think you're going to show up on the world stage and nobody will know it's you. They know it's you, man. Agola, good morning, sister. He said the Met told us it would rain over the weekend. Okay, yeah, we were not listening to the Met clearly. Erica War says good morning. KDF, Wamifikiwa, my friends. Allah. Yes, fish is a group on its own. Fish definitely is a group on its own. Pisces is a fish. Yes, it is. Alligator and crocodile are together. They are cousins. Grace Nyawira says good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's always great to have you in, and the door is open. Karibuni sana. All right, last week we were in Rwanda. This week for our Proverb City, where did you hop off from?
I mentioned last week that we're going to be in Tanzania.
Oh yes, you did.
Yes, the Mexican thingamajig that Mark was speaking about is called a caecilian. It looks like a snake, but it isn't called a snake. A burrowing caecilian. It's an amphibian. Yes, it looks like a snake, but it isn't a snake.
Yeah. It has two light little legs at the front.
It has legs on its face.
Too tiny.
Yeah, around its neck. Yeah. if you can say it has a neck.
God had a sense of humor, man.
Yeah, just when you think you'd figured things out, God throws that on at you and says, okay, figure this one.
Have this, Adam.
Yes.
Name this one.
I wonder how long it took.
Adam must have taken a minute to name all those animals, man.
You see, him didn't have other things bothering him.
Plus, he don't worry about food. He was in the Garden of Eden, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that is even before.
He didn't even have a wife, so she couldn't nag him.
No,
and he was the richest man on earth at the same time.
Yes, being the only man on earth.
Yes.
Okay, this story is a nice one, isn't it? Yes. Tanzania. We are in the country of Tanzania. Since you're being asked a question, let me ask a question. Did you know that Tanzania was not Tanzania before Tanganyika and Zanzibar merged?
This I knew.
Yes, Mark, you would know. Sister Du here would also know. Yes, exactly. And now, do you know what Tanga means? You know what Nyika means? Most people know what Nyika means. Tanga is a sail, S-A-I-L.
That's what I was going to ask. It has something to do with water.
Yes, it has. It's a sail, okay? Nyika is an uninhabited plains, expansive plains, okay? Yes. Zanzibar, derived from the word Zenj, okay? Black people. And then Bar, B-A-R-R, is Arabic for coast or shore.
Bara.
See, you, good. The word bara is also derived from the word bar. Okay? So when Zanzibar and Tanganyika merged, then we got Tanzania.
Love it.
Okay? The capital, as we all know, is
Dar es Salaam.
Thank you so much. It's Dodoma.
It's Dodoma.
Oh, sorry.
No, do not worry.
Business capital
It was moved.
It was moved.
Do not worry, brother. This is okay. you at least didn't talk about some country in the Horn of Africa.
I totally forgot.
Don't worry. Tanzania had its capital in Dar es Salaam for a very, very, very long time. Now, our first proverb for this week: no matter how fast moonlight runs, daylight catches up. No matter how fast moonlight runs, daylight catches up.
Oh my. The sun will always shine.
The sun come, shine or rain.
Shine. The rain will always shine.
Perhaps evil cannot last forever.
That's really it.
Darkness doesn't last.
It may seem, there are times the night seems long.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Even those countries which have long winters, long wars, then you have a lot of sunlight, then that change takes place.
It will always come.
It will always come. Yes.
Okay, so let's look into some of the headlines. Lydiah.
Her name is Lydiah.
Lydiah. Okay, so I guess we're waiting for those other ones. Let's look at the headlines in the Standard, then we can look at some of these other headlines in a minute. So you may have noticed that State House got a makeover. And folks are saying, thanks, but that's not our State House. Bring back our State House. The new design of the house on the hill, which strips away its colonial heritage for a modern flat roof look, has fueled criticism, with Kenyans raising concerns about erasing historical identity. Okay. We'll look into the details.
We have to change everything, don't we?
Yeah,
Everything, everywhere, all the time.
Yes.
Yep. It was changed. So let's see. Flat roof and the questions as to why. So that was all opened up a couple of days
Was there
ago.
public participation?
In changing the State House?
Yeah.
Yes. The participation came after.
So the participation is happening now.
Now you participate and comment.
There's actually quite, I don't know whether we should discuss this now, but there's actually quite an argument to be made under our Museums Act and Historical Sites Act, because State House is definitely of historical significance.
It is.
And changing it is supposed to be something that is more public participatory
Than most things that you actually think of.
Yeah.
Because something that has the value of being a national heritage, my friend, it means it can't happen again. It's it.
Yes.
Okay, we'll discuss it because, it's important.
It's imagine if someone changed the White House in the States.
That's the thing. I don't know in the world. Actually, I went and did a little bit of research. I don't know in the world that presidential, or rather, essentially the residence for state purpose of the president in any country has been changed. It has been renovated, but changed like this. I've not found yet.
Think of other monuments of the nature, and it's a monument.
Yes.
Think of cathedrals. Okay.
The Sistine Chapel, for example.
Yes. Think of Fort Jesus. That thing is centuries old.
Yes.
You touch it up, you make sure it's standing okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's what's done.
Yeah.
It's what's done.
Or you should try run up the pyramids and see what will happen to you.
I'm telling you.
Exactly.
Yes. Now these pyramids need to be flat topped.
Yes, and that nose from the Sphinx, we chipped off. We need to fill it and give the Sphinx another nose. See how that works.
So it's going to. We'll talk about it in just a minute. Fight against bars near schools almost getting lost. Difficult. So it started with there was a lot of gusto. Bars near schools, we need to remove them. It cannot happen anymore. Well, it seems as though that roar has lulled. Hamas opposed Trump's Gaza clean-out plan. Of course, I'm not surprised. Shah assures mothers of free delivery. And alcohol, women, and a tragic fall. The life and times of Wanjiro. Want to look into this morning. So we'll look into some of those stories in detail. Let me tell you what's on some of the headlines for now. As we go into it, on the front page of The Nation today, coalition shopping people are shopping, it would appear. And that's smack dab on the nation today. With more than 2 years to the next general election, Kenya's political landscape is already shifting in earnest, with key players engaging in intense negotiations and strategic maneuvers to secure alliances. Behind closed doors, power brokers are shopping for parties and coalitions that could determine the country's future. Leadership. From secret meetings to public endorsements, the chessboard is set, and moves to secure a place at the high table are underway. So already it's looking like, the president, with that William Ruto and Prime CS Musalia Mudavadi, they merged their parties. It became one big party. Martha Karua and Rigathi Gachagua. We saw that Rigathi Gachagua and his colonels visited Martha Karua with a lot of food and, went to her house and a lot of other items. Who knows what was discussed there. Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa, together with Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya, are working on a deal ahead of 2027. And Fred Matiang'i and Uhuru Kenyatta, allies of Mr. Kenyatta, say the former head of state plans to back Dr. Matiang'i to dethrone President Ruto. And in the middle of them all, it's a divided house, is what it seems. And in the middle of them all is one Raila Odinga. Okay, sawa. That's what the headline says. Let's look at some of those stories as we get into it this morning. Titi, what else?
The Star.
Uh-huh.
The Star has many stories. And let me just tell you some of the stories. Nairobi-based diplomat on spot over racist abuse. Okay? The man, in a foul mood, reportedly told one of his workers the things people say. God Almighty. Okay. Right. He called the guy monkey.
People still do that? Come on.
Yes. They had a small domestic tiff, but and then that word slipped. Maybe he was referring to one of our relatives who was probably on a tree nearby, but
maybe he actually did see a monkey.
Yes, and then maybe the worker just happened to be there, but it looks like this is something that has irked people. By the time it gets to be news, it means people are not happy with it, and it's been reported. Okay, Parliament stronger. Well, stronger how? But quality debate lower, says fifth term MP. Okay? That is Adan Kainan. Okay? Fifth term MP. Fifth term MP, that's 25 years, eh? The man has been MP. Military in fresh attempt to scrape lunch subsidy.
Yeah, man. KDF Mifikiwa.
Well, suppliers owed by City Hall wait and assembly approval just 1.2 billion. These are what you call what? These unpaid bills that we have.
Pending bills.
They're called pending bills. Okay. Atwoli defends his close ties with Ruto. Why is he defending it? If you're close the guy, you're close the guy.
Shidani.
Yes. Why must you explain to people? It's you who knows why you're friendly with them. Ruto to chair retreat of heads of states in support of Raila's AUC bid. Okay? Kalonzo, opposition is still strong. Okay, if you say so. But you said so.
If you say so.
Yes. All right. Ruto meets Algeria's special envoy. Okay. Sifuna, leave ODM if you can't fight for Kenyans.
Bas.
Okay. Woman missing after son's body is found in pit latrine. This is a story in Nakuru. Me this horror story, these things give me palpitations. Okay? Yani, we can't have a day when some horror story hits us.
Sadly, no.
Now, internationally, huge crowds await return of northern Gaza after delays. Okay? To northern Gaza. This story about Gaza, Hamas, Israeli, this one requires a conversation on its own. And we'll do that thing again and ask the Palestinian Authority, the ambassador who is here, and ask the Israeli ambassador, since the last time they declined to appear together, maybe this time they'll agree so that they can come and
Tell us where we are now.
Yes, exactly.
We did see some pictures over the weekend. I think you remember the one famous picture of this girl who had been captured by some Hamas soldiers. It was really horrible in terms of what happened to her. I think she had been assaulted. She was injured. And, she'd been kept for, easily a year plus. And 4 of them had been kept with me to dress up, kept in caves for the last 1 year. But then she was reunited with her father a couple of days ago. And then they started to tell the tales essentially of what had happened to them. But it would appear as though the truce between Hamas and the Israeli troops is living out in word and a little bit in deed. But we don't know exactly where, things are now.
If you want to understand how mistrust in its extremist form manifests, observe what is happening there now. You will see. In Kiswahili, say Shingo Pande, you're sort of like, okay, we've agreed. Yeah, but, we don't really trust you. And and you think we don't trust you. Yeah. So that is in the start. But bang in the middle of this particular paper is a picture of the president. What is the president doing? Well, the president actually has a machete. Yes, he does. Ruto rides on sugar deal for voters. He is cutting sugarcane in Western Kenya. And you cut sugarcane with a machete.
Okay.
Yes, that is what I meant. And he's wearing a splendid looking hat here. And yes, this is a nice hat, Mr. President. It's nice.
Sindio?
It's a very nice hat. The sort of hat that tells the sun, stay away.
The bonus is not what is nice?
That one, some of these things, my friend, when there is mention of a bonus and that is followed by 1,001 questions, then you wonder whether it's actually a bonus.
Yeah, I was wondering why you're talking about the hat instead of the bonus. That should tell you where your focus is.
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture. That bonus, is there a picture of the bonus?
City the fashion critic.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
William Tunga has condemned the withdrawal of the Sigei security. Now, of course, the police came out and said, no, all her security has gone for training and for promotions, and her people were reinstated. What is interesting, a place where I used to work says that unit trusts overtake stocks in growing investor appetite. That's good news for the economy. It rose by 7% in unit trusts, which, by the way, is City, for your sake, are giving 15% interest.
Who?
Unit trusts.
Oh, unit trust.
Yes.
For my sake.
Yes.
My sake, thanks you.
Since you have a few billions lying around. 15% of a billion is 150 million, my friend.
This man, dude.
Yes.
Humorous guy, this.
So you're just rich here, you're not telling me.
This is his front.
Surely.
This is his front. Yeah.
Right.
Java House has been sold.
Why are you looking at me?
Only now.
Yes, it's been sold again. So
okay.
Actis has sold it to 2 African private equity funds for an undisclosed amount. And what does that mean? Is that Java House is either very lucrative or it needed to be offloaded.
But why would somebody buy it if they're businessmen? Why would they buy it if they can't see the potential?
So the NCIC chair, on the other hand, says that there are 5 counties that have increased gang-related violence and active gangs being used by politicians. That is on the actually on the Standard, right? Page where are we? Page 17. That's very interesting because it's reminiscent of Mungiki. So that's something that we need to watch out for, because when you got 5 gangs in these counties, by the way, in Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, and Kiambu counties, where gang operations have increasingly been organized.
My goodness.
Yes, by politicians.
So this is a story actually that was carried yesterday, but let's just as we start to look into some of these stories in detail. Karen or Wamunyoro? Where is Wamunyoro?
Nyeri.
Who is from Wamunyoro?
Former DP.
Thank you. Now, what is happening? Deputy President Kithure Kindiki and his predecessor, Rigathi Gachagua, are engaged in a political match aimed at tearing down each other by wooing each other's allies. Okay, Gachagua has converted his Wamunyoro village home into a command center where he has been meeting political guests and delegations and firing salvos at President Ruto and his administration. In the city, Professor Kindiki has been using the DP's Karen residence, replicating Gachagua's moves by hosting delegations from areas his predecessor had already covered. Can you see? Gachagua has invited delegations from each of the 11 Mount Kenya counties, comprising MPs, members of county assemblies, and aspirants for various elective positions, whom he is confiding in about his plans to ensure that Mount Kenya region will be part of government in 2027. The former number 2 has also hosted delegations from Isiolo and Ma-speaking regions, seeking to solidify his influence in Mount Kenya and neighboring counties. During the meetings, Gachagua has been telling his visitors why they should join him in a new party that is in the works, which he hopes to use to bargain for national resource allocation, even as he continually reiterates that the president shortchanged the region by engaging in a use and dump strategy. And then we saw that over the weekend, and we saw people that we know are his allies in the name of Governor Mushoba, who they all went now to Martha Karua's residence over the weekend, and they had lunch. And, it was very clear what was happening after that we would not be surprised to see Gachagua and Martha Karua team up. We wouldn't be surprised if we saw one over the next couple of weeks, because it seems as though you people who are saying allow work to happen before 2027, they're saying, sorry, but we don't have time for that. We need to now start to put together our political alliances and move this caboose. So, what will we see in terms of political alliances moving into the future? Gachagua talks about use and dump strategy that the president has been engaged in. But one must ask that in your days as a seasoned politician, did you not imagine that this would happen to you? Had you not better sleep with your eyes open to understand that the way in which politics are played out, that it's very possible that if you were told or you knew that you were going to bring the Mount Kenya influence into this party, at some point when influence had been gotten, would you not understand that they had now your purpose had been expended?
There's always something to be derived from politics, and that is understanding the nuances of it. Something happens, and on the face of it, it seems clear what has happened. For instance, it is clear the immediate former deputy president is no longer deputy president. It's obvious, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
But then there's the import of it. How is that read? How is that understood? And then there is a population in the region he comes from, the wider region, who supported this particular presidency very vigorously and very energetically.
Because of him?
Him and other factors also. He wasn't just the only one. There were other factors. The key factor, remember, there was a promise for young people. Okay? Now, his not being there signals something. We look at it as, well, he is no longer deputy, but what does it mean and how do they take it? And how do they align that with the promises that they believe were made to them? Because promises carry with them a certain sense of entitlement. We were told this, and we have every right to expect that this is going to happen. And when that doesn't happen, then what? How then do you read the situation?
Yeah.
Yes.
There are 3 graves you can't find. The grave of Jesus Christ, the grave of Adolf Hitler, and the grave of Osama bin Laden.
Jesus Christ's grave is in...
He's not there.
If you go to Israel, you will be shown several spots that are supposed...
they're believed to be.
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason you can't find them is because if Osama bin Laden had been buried on land, it would become a holy site. When you assassinate your enemy, you must be very careful not to turn him into a martyr. Right? Rigathi Gachagua is not riding the Mount Kenya wave as a kingpin. He is the symbol of the martyrdom and the pain the people feel.
Victimized.
Exactly. And the problem with that, and it's so important that whoever is thinking about this needs to understand that a martyr is far more dangerous than is a kingpin. Because the people around him are charged emotionally. They are emotionally invested in his fate and in his destiny.
Plus, they are pained on his behalf.
Yes. Now, if you want to counterbalance that with Kindiki, you must ask yourself the very important question: what do the people feel about Kindiki? Not how many people you can bring together and tell to go campaign. It's this is a fight about the emotions of central Kenya, and so far Rigathi Gachagua is running away with it. Tomorrow he will say that the president stole my potatoes, and because people are emotionally charged, they will still listen to him. So the counterbalance is not going to be Kithure Kindiki. It's not going to happen. Kithure Kindiki is the kind of person, unfortunately, that does not inspire emotional response. Maybe because of his professorship and his desire to be academic in what he does. There needs to be, if the powers that be really want to rein in Mount Kenya, there's got to be a lot of investment into the emotional state of that particular region. And as far as we are concerned, the guy who's riding the horse, the trailer, and the buggy is one Rigathi Gachagua.
So when here we think about it and we look at what happened, November, around the impeachment, is that yes, actually, there were many factors that would play out into this whole victimization game, which we know, for example. I mean, what happens in courts when there's somebody to whom some grievous harm has been caused?
Yes.
What do they do? What do lawyers insist? Lawyers normally insist that this witness who is the victim must go on the stand. You know why?
Yeah.
Because I will shed tears
Yes.
and I will talk about my ordeal. And you, being a human being, no matter how dark you may be, you will resonate with my pain and you will defend me. That is why lawyers say that. Lawyers don't necessarily, they want others to resonate with your pain.
Yes.
And that pain is what is going to help them make a decision. And that if you come out in the future saying 1, 2, 3, they know, okay, this is from a place of pain and we can't have that.
Yeah.
So I've been actually, over the last couple of weeks, I've been saying to myself, wait, listening to Rigathi Gachagua, why has he, these things that he's saying today, why has he not said them before? But then now I realize, hold on a minute, he knows exactly what he's doing.
Yes.
It played out in the public gallery that he was unwell during the impeachment process and he had to go to hospital. It also played out that thereafter his security then was withdrawn. It played out in the public gallery that he is the one who supported the president over time, but that was taken away also, and that his support was no longer needed. What else has played out? That he is the one who all this time has been telling the president, don't do this, do this.
Yes.
Let's consider Kenyans. He didn't listen. I've been telling you, let's do this, you don't. So it's the whole victimization thing where, guys, I've actually been the one who's had the shorter end of the stick. And this is what I was telling him, but he didn't listen. Can you see what they did to me?
But you see why that resonates is even in the absence of his being, what is that thing that they did for him again?
Impeachment.
That one.
There were already tales of war in the region because there were expectations and many of them were not being met.
Yeah.
So the people were already being disenchanted. So now, once the immediate former deputy president was impeached, he didn't create the bandwagon, he joined it. And then he propelled himself and became a voice.
Yes. And you see the miscalculation that happened is by impeaching him, the thought that was that he would probably disappear since he has no political future. He can't run for political office. But Rigathi Gachagua, being sly as he is, understood that he would have the ability of dictating who would be governor, who would be president, in fact, at the end of the day, if he plays his cards right. And what he knows, and he knows very well, is he knows how to take advantage of people in power. His brother was a governor, right? And by all rumors, allegedly, he was able to use the governorship of his brother to great benefit to himself. And let's not forget that we're not exactly talking about a saint here. You know, this is someone who now has become the proverbial Robin Hood that was once there and now I am back with the people. And he knows how to play his game. You know, he probably went to Martha Karua and said, listen, I cannot run for office, but I can get you 20 MPs.
Who can rally behind you.
Yes, you know, and that really is the reason why many people talked about Rigathi Gachagua resigning before he was impeached. But now you can see what his game plan was. And he's going to ride it all the way to 2027.
But you know, the interesting thing, though, as we look at the hour, the twists and turns of politics sometimes go beyond any prediction we can make, because he is not the only individual in that region who has political clout. He just happens to be very loud right now.
Right.
But the thing about political competition, it brings out the best and the worst in people.
Yes.
And that hasn't quite begun in Central Kenya.
Well, let's look at this State House story because it's quite a big one. Lavish State House revamp sparks outrage over priorities. So it's not just that the whole thing was changed, it's that, you know, a whole chunk of money was used when perhaps, by the way, 46, I don't know how many billion was it?
No, the amount is not disclosed.
No, wait, no. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about the money that was supposed to be released for Capitation on Friday. Did it come out?
I haven't heard of it, because if we had, it would be in the papers, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. So the money for Capitation has not come out. They said by Friday. But we're still not there.
Did they say by Friday last week?
Yes.
Or just by Friday?
No, Friday last week. They were specific. On
You're
this one.
sure?
You know, if they had said just Friday, it could have been next Friday, the Friday after that. You know, but they said
last Friday.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But you know, initially, CS Mbadi had said by 31st of January.
And 31st, we know, is this coming Friday. That's why I asked the question.
But you know, they keep putting the foot in it. So just as you're talking about that, the facelift at State House has ignited a storm, sparking outrage over which critics term misplaced priorities and extravagance. With the country grappling with economic hardships, mounting debt, crumbling public hospitals and dilapidated schools, questions have arisen about the government's commitment to its much touted austerity measures. The sleek new redesign of the house on the hill strips away its colonial heritage for a modern flat roof look, has further fueled criticism with concerns about erasing historical identity. Now, despite public outrage, the government has remained tight-lipped over the cost of renovations or their impact on taxpayers' already strained pockets. Repeated attempts to get a response from the government spokesperson's office bore no fruit by the time of going to press. But you know, the deputy spokesperson will be in the room at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Perhaps they can tell us how much they spent and the decision to go this way, why it was done. Lydiah is here and she's frowning. Why?
Lydiah is happy.
Okay.
Yeah, she's not frowning.
Okay, she's giving us another paper.
Wait.
Yeah?
I thought I already had that paper. Okay,
no. We just roll with the punches. So, people are not happy about two things when it comes to this State House renovation. Number one, you've erased historical identity. 1. 2, you spent a gobsmacking amount of money on this thing that perhaps could have been used for other things at the time whereby there's so many competing things, you know, I don't know, education not done, roads have not been finished, but then you decided to go and renovate State House.
You know, the question you must ask yourself is, when Uhuru was there, how bad was State House?
Was it leaking? Were the roofs leaking?
My friend, it is not up to Uhuru. There are people whose job it is to ensure that that particular building stays in
immaculate
mint condition.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's number one.
Yes.
So we can state for a fact that State House did not have leaking roofs.
Okay.
Right? 2, was there an urgent need? Was there perhaps a drone threat with the kind of roof? Is a tiled roof more dangerous?
Did one of the visitors walk into State House and a mouse scurried across the passageway, the hallway?
So what was the necessity is the first question you must ask.
Well, there is. Remember, the deputy's house also had a huge budget for renovation.
That deputy's house was finished just let's
Go on, I'm being facetious.
Yeah, I know you are. But for me, the biggest thing, and this is probably from my work at the Brand Kenya for a while, State House is ours. It's ours. You know, if you ask the Kenyan where the seat of government is, they tell you it's State House. It's not. It's somewhere in Harambee. Yeah. But State House is the people's house. It belongs to us. So the feeling that people are feeling, and I hope that those who need to listen are listening, is that you changed our grandmother's house. You went to the village and you found your grandmother's house has been changed.
Yes.
That is what people are feeling. And you're wondering, why was it necessary? And how much did it cost? And at the same time, and it goes back to the emotions of Kenyans. How do Kenyans feel in terms of the totem pole of priorities? What you've done, does it trump the importance of their schools, the hospitals, their Asha chief, which only paid 14,000 shillings of my bill?
You know something? I sometimes feel that we are holding this stick from the wrong end. Let's go back to factory settings. What did we see when this government took office? They spent lavishly.
Traveled everywhere.
Have they stopped? No. Have they tapered down? In word. Indeed, all we see, and we see it continuously, is spending. And the problems that were there when they took office, have they changed?
Have they gone away? Or has something been done essentially to make them go away?
So that now, and we have extra change, and with that extra change, we can now lavish on a few things. The answer is no.
No, very clearly no.
You asked about capitation, hasn't been paid. Have pending bills been sorted out? No, they haven't. Are we still paying debts which accumulate to 70% plus of our revenue? The answer is yes. Do we have problems with our hospitals? The answer is yes. Can we afford to live on a daily basis? It's problematic. Are people getting more jobs? The answer is no. In fact, they're losing more jobs. So the situation that we're in is not a pretty one.
Oh my goodness.
So Mark, to answer your question, on the totem pole of priorities, the renovation of State House was not a priority.
It was not on the poll.
No,
At
it
all.
is not a national priority.
And that's the issue, because, and I think this is my message for the hour. I think sensitivity to the feelings of Kenyans and how painful it is to be Kenyan needs to be at the top of that totem pole.
Indeed. And that's where we are. So, look, guys, at 7 a.m., which is just in a few, Deputy Spokesperson in the Office of the President, Gabriel Muthuma, will join us. And these are some of the questions we want to ask in terms of what on earth actually is going on. Was it necessary to spend this? Let's wait and see what it is that he has to say.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Are you a young person looking to unlock your potential? Are you ready to take the future in your hands? If so, then listen up. KCB to Jejiri is the plan. It's designed to empower young people like you, develop skills and knowledge you need to succeed in life. KCB to Jejiri combines vocational skills training, business development training, access to finance and business mentorship, preparing youth for jobs, entrepreneurship and wealth creation. Don't be left out. Visit kcbgroup.com/foundation to learn more.
Looking to upgrade your kitchenware, furniture, or electronics? We've got the best deals for you. Dig a shop. your one-stop online store for electronics, furniture, kitchenware, and more. Buy online now and enjoy fast and convenient countrywide delivery in just 48 hours. Here's the best part. Every Saturday from 6:30 p.m. you get exclusive discounts on your favorite items during Shop.Digger Show on KTN. So why wait? Visit shop.digger.co.ke and experience convenience at your fingertips. Digger Shop. Fast, easy, affordable.
Are you ready to become the next biggest music star? Do you have what it takes to compete with the best of the best? Oh, yeah! And walk away with over 1 million Kenya shillings in grand prizes. Auditions are open for Kenya's Star Search on Saturday 1st February and Sunday 2nd February at the Nairobi City Hall Charter Hall from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come through and show us what you're made of. Proudly sponsored by
Star Times. Enjoy digital. Are you a young person looking to unlock your potential? Are you ready to take the future in your hands? If so, then listen up. KCB to Jejiri is the plan. It's designed to empower young people like you, develop skills and knowledge you need to succeed in life. KCB to Jejiri combines vocational skills training, business development training, access to finance and business mentorship, preparing youth for jobs, entrepreneurship and wealth creation. Don't be left out. Visit kcbgroup.com/foundation to learn more.
The weather with Spice FM.
The rain continues in Nairobi, 16 degrees. We'll see highs of 24 and lows of 16 through Monday. And looking into Nakuru, cloudy at 16. It's cloudy at 13 in Nyeri, going to highs of 26. And at 11 in Eldoret, we'll see highs of 24 and lows of 11. Mombasa will be cloudy through Monday, going to highs of 32. And we'll see highs of 31 in a cloudy Malindi. It's 19 and cloudy in Kisumu with highs of 29, while Kakamega at 16 is sunny, going to highs of 28. Kampala this morning at 18 is cloudy, and we're looking into mostly cloudy conditions at 27 in Dar es Salaam. We're looking into a mostly cloudy Mogadishu at 24, and at 11 it's sunny in Addis, going to highs of 24. Lagos at 27 is clear with highs of 33, while Kinshasa at 24 is cloudy with highs of 32. We're looking into a sunny Beijing at -4, going to highs of 0. And we're looking into a cloudy Paris at 12 with highs of just that and lows of 7. London is cloudy at 8 degrees, highs of 9. And in New York, Sunday night, it's clear at -2. Coming into Monday, we'll see highs of 5 and lows of -2.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life.
Okay, so we're looking at traffic that's coming in from Ongata Rongai and is spilling over Magadi Road out towards Langata Road. So that's already very busy this morning. And we know that the rain contributes to this. It is very, very busy on most of the streets in the city today. We're taking a look also on Mombasa Road. And as you come out towards Capital Centre, it's going to slow down just a little bit. It's also very busy coming off of the Eastern Bypass. Some traffic in bits and bobs as you head towards North Airport Road. And we're looking at traffic coming in all the way from Githurai on the Thika Superhighway through and through, bumper to bumper. As you get out then towards Survey, it's going to slow down a little bit more. It's busy on Limuru Road, busy also coming in from Lower Kabete towards Spring Valley. And so all of this to contend with even before traffic hour on a Monday morning, and the rain is coming down. Fog lights up, you're going to need them, folks. Let's get through the morning and keep things busy, moving rather. We'll talk on Spice of MKE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4.
6 minutes after 7 o'clock. Good morning. This Monday is the 27th of January, and welcome to the second hour of Kenya's biggest conversation. We'll hear directly from government this morning on certain issues and how the delivery plan is actually working out. Welcome, Ndu CT, and our guest host for this week, Mark Bichachi, here with you. Karibuni sana. Our live streams are up, and so you're also clicking in on Facebook, on YouTube, and on X, and are all across radio frequencies around the country. And we say welcome also to our audiences on KTN. Karibuni sana, and we're getting into a conversation, and our guest is already seated in the room, coming in all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Gabriel Mudhuma is the deputy spokesman for the government.
Did you just say bougie?
I said bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, kind of like a squirrel that goes after the nuts.
Bushy-tailed. I thought
he still came in bougie, though.
He came in bougie. We have to agree.
Show your love.
We had to call him Mr.
Moneybag.
Well, Mr. Moneybag is without the money. But it's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
And how are you?
I'm all right. How about yourself?
Very well, thank you.
I see now you have the Mr. Mark Bichachi.
Yes.
My good friend.
Is it?
For many years.
Yeah, for many years.
Fantastic.
Yeah. How's it going with you guys?
Well, very well. It's good to have you
here. And salams to our good friend Eric. I saw we congratulate him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do.
Greener pastures, ain't he?
Well, let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see.
You know, that's a question that only he can answer.
Yes. No, I mean, people move, things change.
Indeed.
Right? Why are you not talking about, the facelift of State House? But anyway, before we get there,
let's welcome
this week, as you welcome me, this week we were in mourning. You saw, City, we lost our soccer matriarch, Bob Munro.
Yes.
We did.
And so we have mass today, and tomorrow will be the burial.
Yeah.
It'll be
a huge
tomorrow.
loss.
Oh,
huge loss across fraternities, across the country.
Yes. And literally he raised us up.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Mathare Valley. We came from the Maisa fraternity. So we grew up with Bob, honestly. And that's one person I think we'll remember for quite a while.
Indeed. May his soul rest in peace, and may those that he's left behind with his impact, may they continue to be lifted up.
Yes.
So let's welcome you to the Situation Room. You know how we do it.
Of course.
And CT's gone to another country this week. And he will tell you the proverb, and then you can tell us how you would interpret that. See, now we give you work to do when you come here.
Shoot it, Mr. CT.
Yes, we are in the
United Republic.
You are a good man. You understand. It is United Republic. Yes. Tanganyika and Zanzibar, Tanzania. No matter how fast moonlight runs, daylight catches up.
No matter how fast the night runs.
Moonlight.
Daylight
catches up.
Yeah, when we were growing up, there's a song that we used to sing, CT. Just say, ain't no need to worry what the night will bring. It will be all over in the morning. It was sung by the Winans. Yeah, so that translates. In Kiswahili si usemaje?
Ipi neno gani?
Kuna methali ya Kiswahili.
Inamaanisha?
It actually speaks to this
particular proverb.
Yes.
Me for a moment I thought you were going to think of the Bob Marley song.
Which one?
Maybe don't worry about a thing.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Every little thing gonna be all right.
There's that, and I don't know why it's running away. Yeah, but I think it really speaks volumes to say that it doesn't matter what happens. It'll be all right. It'll be all right.
Okay.
Indeed.
It'll be all right.
Hope. Well, again, good to have you here and looking at certain things in terms of delivery on the government plan. We know government today those who said at some point, give us an opportunity to be able to sit in positions of leadership and of authority. And they essentially then across board form government. We know that.
True.
And then there are different arms that then come in to then ensure that what you told Kenyans in whatever it was a manifesto, whether it was a plan, whatever it was, that those things will come to pass.
Correct.
That those things will come to be. Interestingly, over the last couple of days, many a politician have said that it's very difficult for you to enact your plan if some of the carriers and bearers of that vision have changed over time. So that forms the broad base of our discussion this morning. And of course, there are very many elements that come into play as well. So give us an overview, Gabriel. From a spokesperson point of view, of course, you have all this information at your fingertips.
Right.
Where, in terms of progress, is the delivery of this particular government 2 years down the line?
Thank you, guys, and really appreciate for you giving me this time. And like I've said, it's good to see my good friend Mark Bichachi with you in the studio this morning. You remember, and I think we've mentioned some of this, I think, in my last visit here. And I told you, for us to appreciate where we are, we must, first of all, really somehow understand where we are coming from. What or how did the government look when our current president took over power? It was really the time when things were really bad. Our debt, you may recall, food prices were all up. We had just come out of COVID, Bwana Mark, you may remember. And so things were really grey. What has happened over the past 2 years, and look at where we are, from the stabilizing of the Kenyan shilling, from the fertilizer subsidies that went to subsidize production and not consumption. We are no longer having people walk around the streets with their sufurias on the head. What does that tell you? We are entering in the sphere of the universal healthcare, and that seems to be working pretty well. That one I can confirm, contrary to what you've been hearing. But in general, I think we have done well in those 2 years. Are we there yet? No. But I can guarantee you we will get there.
What's the measure of well?
I told somebody that I don't think we'll ever get to a point where we will clap our hands and say we have arrived. I don't think that will ever happen.
Okay.
Why?
And the reason why this is because when it comes to building a nation, you don't have a hooray moment. Nations are built on progressive advance. Yeah? We have captured all these agendas that we are talking about since independence, CT. Since independence. And just give me 1 minute to explain. The issue, for instance, housing, which is captured in our constitution, Article 43. Life to quality healthcare has been in our constitution. When we talk about things like agriculture in our constitution, when you look at some of these things, they've been in manifestos of all parties that have wanted to take leadership. When you look at unemployment, this is something we've suffered from, not as an administration, but as an entire country for the longest. Changing our education, this has been conversations carried through on all administrations. So what does that tell you? At least we have somebody now who's implementing. For instance, we were in the previous administration, we were talking about the Big Four agenda, you may remember. A continuation which I feel, when you look at something like housing, which is now being implemented, and you can see very soon you'll have people entering these homes. Universal healthcare, yes, it has teething problems, but it is being implemented. Remember, Kibaki had it in his manifesto. He tried implementing it. I think at that time things were not sitting well. It wasn't able to be implemented. But now, we are heading in the right direction. I can say this without fear of contradiction. Look at our Moody rating. Something else to be grateful for. Our inflation. So this CT is what we call credible, deliberate actions. And with time, like I've told you, we'll never get to a point where we are saying we have, hooray, we've successfully developed or created a good country.
But I think you should, and this is the thing about development, that there have to be markers of development.
There has to be.
So because this is the thing, that you should be, and that's why you set a plan.
There has to be, for instance.
And then as you, and this is, I think this is where the crux of our question will come in.
Yes.
That there have to be markers where you say, well, this we have actually done, and we have done across the metrics. We have made sure that this have done. Have people satisfied? Yes. Have we gotten feedback? Yes.
Right.
Are we opening communication channels through which we can then measure the progress? You have to have those hurrah moments.
Without a shadow of doubt. Without a shadow of doubt.
250,000 homes
coming. 250,000 homes coming. When you look at the fertilizer subsidies and what it has done, we continue with that journey, and I can tell you, we will have solved what we are calling in Swahili janga la njaa. We'll have sorted that one. When we are finally able to roll out.
Down?
Of course.
What food prices have gone down?
Oh, really?
Yes. What food prices have gone down?
There was at one point unga, and I'll give you that because that's the marker we use all the time. Unga was 200 and something.
Per 2 kg?
Yes. Yeah. And now that has really gone down.
To what?
Yeah. There are people who will tell you some places they go, it's 110, 120. And some will tell you, the people who use the gorogoro will tell you they are buying it, one gorogoro, probably less than 100. When you look at, let me give you something else. Food, in fact, that is, now that you've mentioned, if you look at food, the inflation holistically, it has come to 4.8, and to be honest.
4.8 what?
4.8%, from 7.7 in December 2023. If you look at the fuel inflation, this climbed to minus 1.0 from 13.7. We're going with credible, deliberate actions. And when fuel goes down, really, it affects a myriad of many other things.
It should.
Yeah. When we've experienced short rains, things have really become worse. Mark, you remember when we've not, due to our reliance in hydro, things would become pricey. And there's a reason why things get pricey is because we resort to using diesel generators. So, and that is to power. So a balance, you have to strike a balance. This is time for new thinking.
In what way?
To ensure, it matters energy, to ensure that we don't have that high reliance in hydro. And that is why you saw a team has been thinking of new ways of energy, whether we are looking at it solar, which is one day to go, and other forms of green energy. It is good that we're having this conversation to ensure that our energy costs are brought down and in real sense bring most of the items that we use and the services that we have at home to bring them down. So I like the question that you asked, but specifically that's one item I've been able to give you on matters unga. I know probably
okay. So what we are looking at now, from what you're saying, unga has come, which is staple food in Kenya, has come down from 220 shillings for 2 kgs to now 130 shillings around there.
Give it there. And I've heard from other people, they will tell me, depending on the brand that you get, and I'm sorry to be discussing brands, you can get it for 110, 105, depending on the brand. But that's not something that I can pin my really finger deep into.
Okay.
But the fact of the matter is, if we are to be honest, certain food prices and commodities have really gone down. And that's why there's not the kind of shout and the kinds of issues we used to see on our roads, people banging, and saying unga must come down.
Let's look at the 2 years. Essentially, what we're saying now is that in 2 years of an administration, that what we've been able to see that has affected Kenyans positively in terms of development is that we've been able to knock off 120 shillings off a 2 kg packet of unga. Is that what we're saying has essentially been done?
And I think this, we again do ourselves a disservice. We cannot come here to just study a packet of unga.
And this is why
That's why I told you, when I said food prices, I'm talking generally. When I talk about inflation, it covers so many things. Bring the inflation, honestly, from the decline of, from the peak of 9.6 to where it is today.
Gabriel.
Yeah? It is, City. We can't. I don't know why we should only pigeonhole on unga.
Actually, we have.
That's why I asked you for very many other examples.
Yes, I've given you generalities of food items. When agriculture has become a core thing in this administration to ensure that food items go down, when you have ensured that our roads and our road network continue to grow, so that the domino effect of the Mukulima from Mashinani is able to bring their food items into the market without a lot of potholes. We were telling somebody, I was having a discussion with somebody who was asking hatukuli barabara. And so I was telling him, you need to understand the domino effect of when you say hatukuli barabara. A mkulima who's bringing tomatoes from Nyandarua, if that road is not or has many potholes, assuming he's bought his pickup, that pickup, Mark, every time it gets it gets into problems because of the potholes, he will take it to the garage, and guess what he will do? Whatever he's paying, he'll put that money on top of what? On the produce. All right? So the domino effect is that good road. When that good road is there, guess what? The food items will also be affected.
Everything you say is actually true. It is true.
Of course it's true.
It is true. The rate of inflation has gone down. The dollar has stabilized at below 130, which are all good things, Gabriel. Now, the question that you have to ask yourself, Gabe, is, and I'm going to just take, I think in front of me I have the Saturday Nation, right? And there is a picture of a lady being arrested by over 20 police officers, right? Now, this is the juxtaposition that I think the communication between the people and the government is being missed. This story, when I look at this woman with red eyes and tears, right, does not speak to the progress in my country. Number two, when you speak,
does not speak to the price of unga, you mean?
No, just let me finish, Gabe. Yeah. Then you come to the prices of unga. The truth is, when you take a figure of 1 month of 9.7 and compare it to another month at 4.3, right? You're not wrong in that calculation. But when you look at the rate at which incomes have dropped because of taxation, right? And the supposed benefits you get from the reduction of the price of unga. The price of unga has reduced, but my salary has reduced, and I am still in pain paying that 120, 130 shillings. So the question I want to ask you is, what is the government doing to deal with the individual pain that Kenyans feel concerning various government actions that seem not to be addressed simply by addressing inflation?
You've mentioned something about this lady, and allow me to say that,
and she's an example of how Kenyans are feeling.
I know, and currently, I asked about the very same thing, and I was told the police are It's now in the hands of the police, and let's see what happens this week, because apparently she was bailed out, and if this week she's produced through court, then we'll know. We will be able to follow it up. But
Gabriel, I'm sorry, that's not an answer, because
I don't have. I'm not the IG of police, Mark.
No. Hear me out. Grace Mule 61 stormed into Afia House during a press conference, not an illegal activity, and told everyone, including the healthiest, that the new health scheme was not working and thousands of patients were suffering. Now, what I want you to hear, Gabe, is the pain, the suffering. In fact, let me make it personal, right? I'm diabetic.
Yes.
I was hospitalized from Saturday last week to Saturday this week. My bill was well over 500,000. Shah Chief offered to pay 14,000 out of that entire bill. When you talk about inflation, for me, I'm in pain. Now, I don't want to talk about the arrest and whether this lady is guilty or not. There is a common thread called the suffering of the Kenyan people, which you're not addressing. And I'm using from abductions all the way to Shah Chief and all the way to capitations and schools.
I actually see the headline. They say it's barbaric. And that's what I'm saying. An item like this, you have the IG of police, which is an independent commission or service. And the same way you're following Mark is the same way I'm following about the story of this lady. When she was arrested, taken to, was it Capital Police Station? And later she was bailed out. That's what I was able to follow it up. But then again, let's see when she's produced to court the kind of evidence that will be induced. To what you're saying about, and Paul and about the issue you had at the hospital, I would have really wanted to pursue that further to see why it's not been covered to your liking, and it's probably something we can look into once you're done here, because I know for sure I've had so many success stories. About the Taifa Care, and not only the success stories, I've been on the ground and I've met patients. There are videos all around. Yet, at the same time, when we are hearing about success story city, I'll tell you, there are other people who are saying Shah is not working. And those are the cases I'd like to hear. One thing I can guarantee you, and I'm saying here on this studio, I have not seen a case, one, that the team at Shah have not tried to deal with to its logic conclusion. You know why? Because I am seeing some of those discussions and some of those interactions. And there are people following up each and every case. Now, City, I'll still be here. I'll still add. Being a right in our constitution, and hear me well when I said it's a progressive advance. Whether it takes 50 years, we'll still be trying to make it better. But have we started? Yes. Is it heading in the right direction? Of course. The issue about capitation that you've talked about, the minister, Mbadi, said 48 billion was being released last week in capitation. Yeah? He said it.
Was it released?
And I believed what he said. There has been deliberations, there has been discussions, there have been discussions throughout. And that's why he came out clear and said, we are going to release 48 billion.
So here we are, Gabriel. I'm sorry, but I have to stop you there to ask this very clear question, because this is not a matter of stabbing in the dark to see if maybe something is happening. It's very clear. That
when a cabinet secretary...
Allow me to ask the question, and I'm going to base it on certain things. Right now, over the last 5 years, there is 64 billion shillings. 64 billion shillings that has not been released in capitation. That's over the last 5 years, and this is excesses of what should have been released that was not released. Park that. We are into a new school term, and guess what? The term is determined by government. The dates are determined by government in the Ministry of Education. They are told to Kenyans that you will go back to school on this date. In the public system, it is clear knowledge to everybody that there is money that is paid by government in order for these schools to operate and in order for these children to go to school. Right?
Correct.
Without which there is a depression at some stage.
Yes.
That something is missing at the school level if this is not done. Remember the 64 billion, which is a very important factor here. So they're already working in deficit. So we get into a new year. You set the term.
Yes.
So one would think that at that point, there already is a plan in place for money to be sent. We are into now the third week and nothing has been done. Yes, we know he said it because we all heard it, but it has not been done. This is not conjecture. This is not guessing. This is not stabbing in the dark. Children have gone back to school. Schools are open. Learning is taking place. Capitation has not been sent. The minister said he would send. They have not. That hampers on development, and this is the question: why is it so difficult for it to be done?
When Treasury, you can't say it's difficult. When Treasury has already said it is disbursing, it's releasing the funds.
But it didn't.
When Treasury has said it is releasing the funds are in the process of being released, and that's how government works.
But then they don't get released.
When government said we have a deficit of nearly 65,000 classrooms, we are now.
16,000 is the number.
We are now nearly, we are nearly getting there because of the classes that have already been built. Wait a minute. When government said we needed to straighten this issue, including the capitation that you've talked about, we needed to close all the loopholes. There's a reason as to why. When government said from 350 onboarded, citizen-facing services to 20,000 now and still moving on e-citizen, it was because of what I'm calling the credible, deliberate actions. And I'll give you an example because this is something we have to talk about. Why was there a need to restructure a lot of departments in government? I'll just give you an example. Kenya Wildlife were collecting between 400,000 and 500,000 shillings a day. That's the department I've given you. And you know that figure, it's during high seasons it some slightly goes up, and during low seasons it go down. They moved through the actions of the president, just one department. They moved all their services onto e-citizen. City, guess how much they are collecting a day?
It is definitely more than what they were collecting.
They are collecting 20 million shillings a day.
Okay.
So question is, why was there a need to straighten that up? Because monies have been lost through and through. And so when the government has taken some time to straighten out things that were going wrong, to ensure that all those loopholes are covered, including the introduction of a very techno-savvy, sophisticated universal healthcare, away from NHIF, which was a cesspool of corruption. It sometimes takes time, but most importantly, Mark Bichachi, it's a fight trust me.
Okay, we're going to go to a break.
It's a fight because of the people who are used to that system to siphon. So it's not an easy thing, but it is being done. It is happening. It's being
This is the thing. We're going to go to a break, but my question still remains the same, which you've managed to not answer, and I'm going to ask it again. 46 billion shillings, which is supposed to be released for capitation. These children who are going to school are not nearly in school, like you're saying we're nearly there. They're not nearly in school. They are in school. They're not. The teachers are not merely teaching. They are teaching.
Hold on. I've answered. I've answered your question.
No, just allow me to finish this. Food is not nearly being delivered for children who are in boarding to eat. They are already there right now. Why has this money not been sent to schools? It's very simple. Is there a reason? Is there no money? Is it that there was no plan? Why has this money not gone to school? So why has it not gone to school?
48,
46 billion.
46, I think it's 46.8 billion has already been disbursed. What you should be asking, has it reached schools?
I'm telling you it hasn't.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is my question, is that why? You'll tell us? We'll take a break and then we'll come back and find out why this money, for example, hasn't gotten to schools along some of the other lines of the things that we're discussing this morning in terms of the government delivery plan to make sure that certain things happen in the manner in which they said they would. Deputy spokesperson for the government of Kenya, Gabriel Muthuma, is our guest this hour. We'll take a break and see what's happening with weather and traffic, and we'll be back after this.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with Spice FM.
Cloudy conditions in Nairobi. We'll see highs of 24 and we'll see highs of 27 in a cloudy Nakuru. 26 will be the high in Nyeri, where it's partly sunny at 14 and it's 13 and sunny in Eldoret with highs of 25. Mombasa at 25, sunny conditions. Malindi at 24 is sunny and it's 19 and cloudy in Kisumu, while Kakamega is sunny at 18. We're looking into a sunny Kampala at 18 and Dar es Salaam sunny at 27, while Johannesburg at 15 is sunny. We'll see highs of 29. It's sunny at 25 in Mogadishu and 13 is sunny in Addis Ababa. Lagos is clear at 27 and Kinshasa is cloudy at 24.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life.
Okay, so into traffic hour, slightly earlier than usual this Monday morning. Yes, we know that the roads are slippery, so folks are going a little bit slower, which we advise actually. Coming off of Manyanja Road, you're going to cross over towards Jogo Road and we'll find some traffic there. It's very busy on Kangundo Road and we're looking at crazy traffic on the Thika Superhighway that's coming in all the way from the interchange between Ruiru and Juja. So that is very busy. It's going to come all the way through Kahawa out towards Kasarani and then through towards Muthaiga Square. Very busy there this morning. It's also quite busy on Limuru Road coming in from United Nations Avenue, and we're looking at quite some traffic coming in from Lower Kabete. That is also very busy traffic on Wayaki Way as well as on Gong Road this morning. So everywhere you look, there's traffic today. Let's be careful as we traverse it, and we'll talk Spice FM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's 21 minutes to the top of the hour. 21 more minutes of a conversation with Deputy Spokesperson in the government, Gabriel Muthuma, and coming in, and we're looking at the delivery plan for government over the last 2 years, asking ourselves questions. Okay, is what you said was going to happen actually happening? Mark?
Well, Gabriel, let's do you want just to finish on that capitation?
Yes,
because it's actually very important, and you see what's highlighted on on today's paper. But and it's good, higher schoolers and, very nice pictures. But this one I can tell you, already they say, the Minister of Education on Wednesday confirmed that National Treasury had already dispatched 19 billion. 19 billion already dispatched out of the 48 billion.
To who?
To the Ministry of Education. They confirmed to schools.
You know the
19 billion. Yeah, 19 billion out of the 48 billion expected. Yeah, so more capitation is expected this week. So it has already been dispatched.
Actually,
No, you know the 19 billion that you're talking about was actually released by the 5th of January.
Yes.
And this is what I'm telling you. And that's why I said to who. Because the ministry is also very clear when they're releasing funds on what it is for. No, they don't just disperse blanketly.
It's into
Sorry,
schools.
maybe I can help you with this. Maybe you're not aware. But this is exactly what happens. That when money goes to the ministry, it doesn't go blanketly for education. That there is
there are other programs. There are other programs,
there is
yes.
boarding, right? So this 19 that you're talking about was released. The other money that was supposed to be released by 31st initially, then came down to last week Friday, is what is still in limbo.
I think where we are confusing all this is because, first of all, we need to agree that all of us as a country, we are facing what we are calling a very tight fiscal space. This one we all agree. So when the current Treasury CS comes out and says, we've already, yes, things are tight. Probably, we are still in the collection phase of reaching our tax targets. Yes, it's not only school that needs to be funded. We agree. There are so many other government programs. But when he has committed already, and some of the fundings have already been released, he comes out and commits and says, by the end of this week or by the end of next week, we are planning to release 48 billion. That is to say, that money is already locked for release. So the question here is not has it reached schools? No. It's
Gabriel.
When is the when is the disbursement happening and when will it reach schools? That should be our conversation. Not to say that they have not been funded.
If the money has not reached, they've not been funded.
Gabriel, let me highlight something. Let me highlight something for you, Gabriel.
You are being tricky. You're being tricky because
Gabriel,
if I need to fuel my car, and I go to a petrol station and I don't have the money to give the attendant to put in my car, can you say that I've funded?
That's not how government
Can you say
works.
that I have funded?
That's not how government works. That's simplicity.
Let's put this to rest. And why there's a fight, then I take it to another direction. CS Ogomba said, according to the Star, it says Capitation has been dispersed. 19 billion was dispersed Thursday and another 15 billion on Friday. That's according to the Star. You go to Standard, it says the government will release all the 48 billion grants to schools in the next 2 weeks. All of these articles are from Friday. So the issue, Gabriel, here, either the disbursement has not been done or there is a serious communication problem. Let me finish.
You see,
Gabriel, we cannot have a conversation unless you let me finish. Right? Because I'm actually trying to be on your side.
Oh, okay.
You understand? Gabriel, listen. Either this consider it a state of matter. Either the disbursement was halfway done and it's being finished, or it was finished on Friday, or it was not done. Yeah. Now, the communication between the communication that the Kenyan is reading is conflicting. Now, let me give you another example to move it away. Pay pending bills to save jobs, state told. Right? Now, we talked about the reduction in inflation. But there's a big problem, and I know a friend of mine, it's quite sad, that his pending bills have actually led him into poverty. He is borrowing 200 shillings to pay for electricity in his house. So on one side, we talk about the reduction of inflation. What are we doing about the pending bills that are leading many Kenyans into joblessness and many entrepreneurs into shutting down their businesses?
Mark, I told you, first of all, about the capitation issue, I cannot second guess my cabinet secretary for Treasury.
That we agree?
Yes. So I go by what he said and I stand by the words that he committed. So coming to the pending bills, and Mark, you'll agree with me, this is a conversation that has been with us for the longest. You'll further also agree that there were a lot of issues within the pending bills, and that's why when the president came in, he set up a committee that was going to look into the pending bills and see which ones do not have issues, which are, straight, they can be paid. I have not really followed where they've gotten with that, but one thing I'll agree with you, Mark, about the pending bills, yes. I know so many people and friends who've really, some have been auctioned, so to speak. Whether you're looking at it at the people who did work for the national government and probably those who did for the county government, I have heard stories, and some are really, not stories that anybody would like to hear, but that's the fact. That's our reality of today. So I think on that one, it's safe to say that one thing I know for sure at the end of the day, if the pending bills are not contested, then people should be paid. Okay. People should be paid. I mean, if you worked, whether it's the county government or the national government, and there's no audit queries on your pending bills, you should be paid. Yeah. So
there's a conversation about the facts that we are trying to talk about, and it's called optics. You see, everything you said at the beginning regarding the prices of food going down, they're true. They have gone down. But yet, even as they go down, we still find that goods are not moving as fast as they used to, meaning there are fewer and fewer people buying this thing that we're calling affordable. If we talk about capitation to schools, you're right when you say the government works in a particular way.
Correct.
But if we go back to the optics, when we have a picture of State House being renovated, the question is asked, is this a priority? We don't know how much it cost. When you see the deputy president hosting very many people, you're asking, this thing costs money. When you hear of a function taking place in a part of the country, and there's a whole delegation of people who've gone there, it's cost. These optics point to opulence, and people are saying, how is it that we are saying that there are austerity measures, and yet at the same time we are seeing money being spent? It is true. The government has done things that you can point to and you can say they are good. But the government doesn't speak about these things themselves. You are a government spokesman.
Correct.
All right? There are other government agencies whose job it is to actually point these things out. Correct. Why don't they talk about these things?
No, like which one in particular?
Everything. You start. The Ministry of Education, I'm sure, has a communication department.
Yes.
Is there a government ministry that doesn't have a communication department?
Actually, all of them do.
Yeah, precisely. So
to speak.
All these wonderful things, why do we need a government spokesman to come here for us to be discussing these things? And that is not your primary role, really.
Yeah. No, I think...
Is it Shashif or Taifa Care?
It really doesn't matter much. Taifa Care is part of Asha. But you see, Mark, I think what we are going through, and for the longest we will, we've entered a zone where I feel sometimes the critics become too many, even with the advent of social media.
Why do you think that is so?
I don't know. I don't have a linear answer, so to speak, because I feel this is something we're going to struggle with, not only as a country but globally. If you looked at America's just immediate past president, his final speech, he actually spoke into it. He spoke that the world is covered in an avalanche of disinformation and misinformation, and it's going to be like this for the longest. What is going to, I feel, Mark Bichachi, before you get in, what I think all of us must do and agree, even as we question and criticize government, is that we must also be alive to certain facts. And that is what I started by saying, that we shall be forever trying to advance development. It does not matter who comes in.
If you don't talk about it, Gabriel, we will not know about it.
As much as we talk about it, we must also be alive to the fact of understanding what is true and what is not true, what is far-fetched. Because if today, Mark,
Gabe,
if today, wait a minute.
Let's talk about
if
something
today,
physical.
If today I wanted to find information,
Yes.
if today I wanted to find information about Taifa Care, I know where to go
Where?
and get it. Wait a minute.
And
If you just go to sha.go.ke, for instance, it answers so many questions.
Do you know,
and I was
gentlemen-
asking, wait a minute.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to stop you here. Do you know a gentleman called Moses Courier? No. And this is why I'm trying to tell you. We need to-
I'm just saying
we need
some
to
of the
be
things,
careful. We need to be careful
some of the
about
things
what
you
we
can
put
find
out.
out.
Hold on.
Some of the
We
things
need
you
to
can
be
find out.
careful about what we put out into the public
I'm
arena.
just saying,
Moses Courier sat in the same seat in which you're sitting in, and he admitted that one of the things that must happen in the very near future is that there must be information desks, if not at every medical facility, if government needs to set up an information desk about SHASHIF.
It's happening.
So when you say that you know where to find the information,
I'm saying,
sadly, Gabriel, that's what I'm saying.
What I don't want you to do is pigeonhole every little thing, every little detail I'm telling you, yet you don't want to listen to what I'm saying. All I'm saying is,
I needed to stop you there before
if I want to know, me as Gabriel, a factual thing about something, I know who I need to listen to and who I don't need to listen to. That's all I'm saying. And sometimes it's easier to find. Let me give you another example. And this is an example, out of even what we were talking about, if I want to know today the prices of flying from here, a good example, to South Africa with Kenya Airways, I would most likely get the correct information from their website or people associated with that airline, not in our WhatsApp group. It's an example I'm giving you. So we must also be alive. We must also be alive to places where we need to go and get factual information, because it's going to get deadlier as we move along. Our reality, Mark Bichachi, is not what it was 10, 15 years ago. We are entering into deep fix.
Gabe, let
things are not going to be easy.
Let me pause you there.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
There's something I want to tell you. No, you'll answer it.
There's something I want to tell you. For instance,
let's ask the question.
For instance,
let's allow me to do this in an orderly.
For instance, I was telling somebody, Mark, do you know the government has already built nearly 124, going to 150,000 affordable housing units. And they were telling me adamantly, they were like, no, I saw somewhere in the WhatsApp group that you guys have only done 20,000. So, and he fervently sticks to what he calls his facts. So all I'm telling you, Mark, is we need to be careful.
How frequently has the government updated us about these houses? Since you talk of houses.
In fact, when we talk about houses, let me ask this question.
Please, Mark, ask.
Let's go to State House. Right? Let's go to State House. So we stop talking about the small 150. Let's talk about the house.
The small 150 or small 100 or not.
Those are jobs creating. Just hold on.
Thousands.
They're small units.
Are employed.
I'm talking about the small units. They're one bedrooms, right? So, there's nothing wrong with it being a one bedroom. So State House, two bedrooms.
Yes.
State House got a facelift, right? What was communicated to Kenyans? What was the thinking behind it? Why was it done? What is its impact on the country? What was the public participation? And what did your office do to communicate this to Kenyans?
First of all, our office does not communicate that. Our State House has its, and you know this very well, they have the spokesman at State House. All I know is that the building is 117 years old. Yeah.
The White House is much more older.
But do you know how many upgrades the White House have gone through?
Yeah.
Many. The White House, the way it is today, is not what it was. It's not what it was 60, 70 years ago. It has really changed. So, I mean, I think the examples you're using...
The facade of it has not
It's
changed.
not the facade. It's not the facade. I think what
every
you're,
building goes through.
what you're looking for, Mark Bichachi, is what you're looking for is this tag of money not spent wisely.
No.
I won't look at it.
My tag is the communication.
I will not look at it.
The communication of this process. Please hear me.
Now I've told you.
I did not even bring up money.
State House has a communication team. If you want, I mean, I can tell you the person who would really answer these questions. His name is Hussein Mohammed. But you see, he's a state house spokesperson. And but you see, Mark,
Gabe, you're making my point for me. My point is this: that as a government, first you've got a lot of things, good and bad, that are happening, right? And CT is telling you that the way they are communicated to the people is not ringing true. For example, you say the Sha Shift Taifa Care, right? I can tell you, my grandmother is not going to sha.go.ke to find out. She needs to be educated and told, what does Taifa Care mean? What does shift mean?
Let me tell you about your grandmother, Mark Bichachi. Very quickly, let me tell you about your grandmother. There's something called a CHP. If your grandmother...
CHP?
Yeah.
Community health promoter.
No, I'm just saying, even I don't know what that is.
See? There's a community health promoter. You may not know, but your grandmother knows. Because that man is localized at the village. He will go there, spend some time with your grandmother, answer every question that your grandmother will have.
About Sha?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything. And they'll even go further. If she's not registered.
They'll register for her.
They'll register for her.
Good.
Okay. So you're telling us CHPs will register for people?
They are doing it, not that they will. They are currently doing it.
Okay.
You see, when I started by saying credible, deliberate actions, that's what's changing the face of this country. And when the president is when the president is pushing this issue that Kenya hii tutabadilisha, he means it, and it will change. All I'm saying is, even if, as we are having these discussions and deliberations, Mark, yes, we may not see eye to eye on many things. We may not agree. Yeah? And it's good and it's allowed. But one thing all of us must subscribe to is that we are not where we were.
That I agree on.
We were not where we were.
The direction no one disagrees to be contended with.
No. We are heading in the right direction.
Okay.
We are heading in the right direction. And when I say we're heading in the right direction, like Bob Marley said, if you want to know where you're going, you must know where you're coming from. We were doing badly. We were really doing badly.
Even now, Gabriel, we're doing badly.
We were doing badly. And that's why I started by saying, are we where we want to be? No. But we are definitely not where we used to be.
Why are you
and that's
so
why I
adamant
believe
on this issue that we keep bringing up and you don't seem to want to address
Which one?
It is the duty of the government is to inform its people. Stop telling me about portals and what have you. Communicate through how many people go to the internet to look for anything. They listen to the radio.
Yes.
How frequently does the government communicate to its people in vernacular, in radio? Simple.
In fact,
how often?
They are doing a lot. I'm here, first of all, and tomorrow you may have another government. I listen to this. In fact, it's one of my favorite broadcasts. I listen to you a lot. I see government officials coming here. You just told me Moses Kuria was here.
Yes, he was.
And so, as we do our best, obviously, we are fewer compared to the people out there.
If you did your best, the complaints would not be as many as they are.
Am I not doing my best?
No, you are. The point I'm trying to make is this. It is falling short of what is necessary because I think the hue and cry would be as loud as it is but if the communication was actually reaching the people as it should.
All I ask people to do is, first of all, judge. If I was to judge, or the way people are saying, there is a lot that is happening and you people are not communicating, it's just to look at the thematic areas of what the president promised. The president has really not vacated from any of his promises. When he said the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, and he said, starting from the issues of hustler fund work, many people that I know And trust me, I know so many people who can tell me, Gabriel, I don't know about the rest, but this program called the Hustler Fund has helped me. The bank are telling us now that if we continue keeping a good credit score, we can go to the bank and borrow money.
More money for Hustler Fund?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And they are saying it is a good program. The only problem I feel is we have some of us who have, and these are people telling me, some of our friends have taken this money and they've not put it in proper use. And that's why we keep, when we come to such shows, is we tell people, Hustler Fund will only work for you if you subject it to what it was meant for. Yeah. So secondly, when you look at an issue like agriculture, which the president really made, as part of his serious campaign, if you look at it today, 6-point-something million farmers already registered who are collecting fertilizer. We cannot say we are not seeing, the energy that has gone into food production. We cannot say we are not seeing the energy that has been put on what we are now calling the brain gain. People are actually going out there to make a living. Yes, call it Qatar, call it Saudi Arabia, call it Germany. So many Kenyans today have been given that opportunity to be able to go to another country, make a living, and most importantly, when they come back here, they are bringing something useful, and that is experience.
And what do we do with the ones who remain here?
These are questions that I think we need to continue having conversations about. Sadly, our time has come to an end. Many revelations made this morning. But thank you for being here. Gabriel Muthuma is the Deputy Spokesperson, Government of Kenya, and have several conversations today about things that are happening or not happening. And it will be nice to touch up with you again in the future.
They are happening good and nice things. Will continue to happen.
Thank you for being here this morning. Good morning. It is 8:08.
Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Are you ready to become Kenya's next biggest music star? Do you have what it takes to compete with the best and walk away with over 1 million Kenyan shillings in grand prizes? Auditions are open for Kenya Star Search on Saturday 1st of February and Sunday 2nd February at the Nairobi City Charter Hall from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come through and show us what you're made of. Proudly sponsored by Skiza, Techno Kenya, Sunlink, Wairimu Kenya, and Boomplay.
Are you ready to unleash your creativity and dive into the dynamic world of media? Then listen up. At Standard Talanta Academy, a collaboration between Talanta Institute and Standard Group, we are redefining the rules of the game. With our Media Mastery course, you'll embark on a journey that goes beyond the ordinary. From TV and film production, photography to digital journalism, our curriculum is designed to equip you with the skills needed to thrive in today's media landscape. But we are not just about theory, we are about action. Our hands-on approach means you will be creating, producing, and innovating from day one. And with Standard Group, home to KTN, Radio Maisha, Spice FM, and the Standard newspaper, you'll have unparalleled access to industry expertise and real-world opportunities. So, if you're ready to turn your passion into profit, join us at Standard Talanta Academy and unlock your full potential. Visit www.talanta.ac.ke or call 0724 468 468 for more information. Standard Talanta Academy. Unleash creativity.
Are you a young person looking to unlock your potential? Are you ready to take the future in your hands? If so, then listen up. KCB to Jejiri is the plan. It's designed to empower young people like you, develop skills and knowledge you need to succeed in life. KCB to Jejiri combines vocational skills training, business development training, access to finance and business mentorship, preparing youth for jobs, entrepreneurship and wealth creation. Don't be left out. Visit kcbgroup.com/foundation to learn more.
Looking to upgrade your kitchenware, furniture, or electronics? We've got the best deals for you. Dig a shop, your one-stop online store for electronics, furniture, kitchenware, and more. Buy online now and enjoy fast and convenient countrywide delivery in just 48 hours. Here's the best part. Every Saturday from 6:30 p.m. you get exclusive discounts on your favorite items during Shop.Digger Show on KTN. So why wait? Visit shop.digger.co.ke and experience convenience at your fingertips. Digger Shop. Fast, easy, affordable.
Are you a young person looking to unlock your potential? Are you ready to take the future in your hands? If so, then listen up. KCB to Jejiri is the plan. It's designed to empower young people like you, develop skills and knowledge you need to succeed in life. KCB to Jejiri combines vocational skills training, business development training, access to finance and business mentorship, preparing youth for jobs, entrepreneurship and wealth creation. Don't be left out. Visit kcbgroup.com/foundation to learn more.
Are you ready to unleash your creativity and dive into the dynamic world of media? Then listen up. At Standard Talanta Academy, a collaboration between Talanta Institute and Standard Group, we are redefining the rules of the game. With our media mastery course, you'll embark on a journey that goes beyond the ordinary. From TV and film production, photography to digital journalism, our curriculum is designed to equip you with the skills needed to thrive in today's media landscape. But we are not just about theory, we are about action. Our hands-on approach means you will be creating, producing, and innovating from day one. And with Standard Group, home to KTN, Radio Maisha, Spice FM, and the Standard newspaper, you'll have unparalleled access to industry expertise and real-world opportunities. So, if you're ready to turn your passion into profit, join us at Standard Talanta Academy and unlock your full potential. Visit www.talanta.ac.ke or call 0724 468 468 for more information. Standard Talanta Academy. Unleash creativity.
Are you ready to become Kenya's next biggest music star? Do you have what it takes to compete with the best and walk away with over 1 million Kenyan shillings in grand prizes? Auditions are open for Kenya Star Search on Saturday 1st of February and Sunday 2nd February at the Nairobi City Charter Hall from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come through and show us what you're made of. Proudly sponsored by Skiza, Techno Kenya, Sunlink, Wairimu Kenya, and Boomplay.
Looking to upgrade your kitchenware, furniture, or electronics? We've got the best deals for you. Digger Shop, your one-stop online store for electronics, furniture, kitchenware, and more. Buy online now and enjoy fast and convenient countrywide delivery in just 48 hours. Here's the best part. Every Saturday from 6:30 p.m. you get exclusive discounts on your favorite items during Shop.Digger Show on KTN. So why wait? Visit shop.digger.co.ke and experience convenience at your fingertips. Digger Shop. Fast, easy, affordable.
Are you ready to unleash your creativity and dive into the dynamic world of media? Then listen up. At Standard Talanta Academy, a collaboration between Talanta Institute and Standard Group, we are redefining the rules of the game. With our media mastery course, you'll embark on a journey that goes beyond the ordinary. From TV and film production, photography to digital journalism, our curriculum is designed to equip you with the skills needed to thrive in today's media landscape. But we are not just about theory, we are about action. Our hands-on approach means you will be creating, producing, and innovating from day one. And with Standard Group, home to KTN, Radio Maisha, Spice FM, and the Standard newspaper, you'll have unparalleled access to industry expertise and real-world opportunities. So, if you're ready to turn your passion into profit, join us at Standard Talanta Academy and unlock your full potential. Visit www.talanta.ac.ke or call 0724 468 468 for more information. Standard Talanta Academy. Unleash creativity.
The weather with Spice FM.
Cloudy conditions after the morning rain in Nairobi. We'll see highs of 24 and lows of 15, with highs of 27 and lows of 15 in a cloudy Nakuru. And at 14, it's sunny in Nyeri with highs of 26 and sunny conditions in Eldoret at 13, going to highs of 25. Mombasa 25 is partly sunny with highs of 32, and we'll see highs of 31 in a sunny Malindi at 24. 19 and cloudy in Kisumu with highs of 29, while in Kakamega at 18 it is cloudy, going to highs of 28 and lows of 14. Kampala sunny at 18 with highs of 29, and we're looking at sunny conditions at 25 in Mogadishu with highs of 30, and it's 13 in Addis Ababa, going to highs of 24. Mostly sunny at 15 in Johannesburg with highs of 29, while at 27 Lagos is clear with highs of 33, and it's cloudy at 24 in Kinshasa with highs of 32.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life.
It is quite a busy morning this Monday with quite a lot of traffic. Really doesn't matter where you look. Let's take a look at Magadi Road, where earlier it was quite chock-a-blocked, and it still is just that way. Coming in Ongata Rongai all the way through the junction with Langata Road, very busy this morning. And also we're looking at traffic still quite heavy on Langata Road as you get out towards Huru Gardens and then through towards the Nyeri Stadium roundabout onto Aerodrome. It's bumper to bumper. On Huru Highway between Nyeri Stadium roundabout and actually beyond that, coming in from Next Gen Mombasa Road all the way through towards the Nyeri Stadium roundabout. Very, very busy traffic. On the Eastern Bypass, traffic is coming in all the way from that Roy interchange, and then it's going to join with traffic coming off of Njiru out towards Kangunda Road. So that's madness on its own. On the Thika Superhighway, it also continues with a lot of traffic this morning. We're keeping an eye on all of this. We shall talk on Spice FM KE on X. # The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's 11 minutes after 8 o'clock into the third hour of Kenya's biggest conversation this morning. Our guest host is Mark Bichachi, and even as we continue with conversations, one that has been taking the country by storm, literally, over the last 6 to 7 months. It's been happening before, but now we're looking at it having increased over time, and that's the issue of femicide. Our guest for the hour is already seated and already here. Dr. Mutuma Rutere is a director at National Crime Research Center, and we're looking at the femicide crisis in Kenya, what the data shows and what we should do about it. There's the issue of 100 million things already being done about it, and when we say 100 million things, that's already in the shillings, and in terms of what counties and representatives may or may not be doing. But now we're looking into the nitty-gritty of it, in terms of exactly what is happening and definitions, and people are saying what exactly is actually going on. We saw some horrible numbers last week. Since January, how many women have been murdered so far? Not those who've taken their own life, not those who were sick in hospital, but those who've actually been murdered. So that's the conversation that we'll be having this morning. Dr. Rutere, good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Karibu sana. We're glad to have you in the hot seat of the Situation Room.
Asante sana.
Hot topic as well. Many questions rising, and we'll go into some of those today. But let's welcome you in real Situation Room style. CT goes to a different African country every week, and he comes back with a bag of proverbs. So he's going to share the one for today. You tell us what you think about it and how you would what that would mean to you.
We are in the United Republic of Tanzania. Tanganyika, Zanzibar, bound together, we have Tanzania. No matter how fast moonlight runs, daylight catches up.
That's a good one.
All right.
Yes, the sun will always rise, and no matter how fast moonlight moves, daylight always catches up. We know that certain things always happen And we know that daylight will come. And I think it's a positive thing. I interpret it as a positive statement that actually daylight always comes up and lights up.
Indeed.
The world.
That is true.
Yep.
Well, okay. I mean, for sure, and one would hope that would always happen. We've always seen it happen. There's never been a day where the sun decides, okay, well, not today, guys. You know, it's always come. And in one of those dark moments, I think, is where the country currently finds itself, with the numbers of cases of femicide that we've seen rising significantly over the last, 3/4 of a year. Now, the numbers have gotten to a point and the place where at some point the president said, you know what, something has to be done about this. He's put together a task force to deal with those issues. We've seen some movement at the county level with members of parliament and county governors saying, okay, let's do something about this. But let's go back and see if we can get to the genesis, if possible, of this, and say, from the position where you sit, overseeing a crime unit, let's start with some definitions, because I think it's necessary to do so. When we hear femicide, one would think that the rudimentary definition would be the killing of a woman or the killing of a female gender. Could you give us definitions as to that and how all of this is then covered?
Thank you. And that's really important because there have been questions, why are we using the term femicide when we should be talking about homicide, which is basically the intentional killing of a human being by another. So how is femicide different from homicide, the killing of an individual? This term really refers to the intentional killing of females on gender-related grounds. So it is because of the gender-related conditions that the term comes in. Of course, it's not just women who are getting and girls who are getting killed. Men are also getting killed. And when you look at the statistics, actually, and we are getting to that, we'll see how different it is. And why then has there been a focus on women, even though the numbers of women killed might be lower than the numbers of men who are actually killed? Okay,
so just for clarity purposes, what we're saying here is that homicide is the killing of a human being.
Yes.
Femicide is the killing of a female.
Yes.
With an intent. And now we're saying that intent lies squarely on these gender-related issues, relationships, sex, things along those lines.
Absolutely, the gender-related factors.
So you cannot actually then deem something to be a femicide until you've looked at the factors that cause the death?
Absolutely. Okay. And that's where it becomes very complicated because what you have is a lot of reported cases, but you really have to go to the data and actually look at the context, the motives, the relationship between the perpetrator and the victim to understand what were the connections. Then you make a determination, this is gender related. Not every killing of a female is necessarily gender related, but we know from data that the majority of the killings of women in homicide are actually gender-related. Globally, about 60% of women are killed on gender-related grounds.
Just riddle me this. When you talk about gender-related grounds, I saw a young man, 29, who was carrying a sack, unfortunately, of his full of parts of his belated wife. Very unfortunate story. In such a case, is that directly gender-based killing based on the fact that that was his wife, or is there another criteria there?
Well, it could be. Sometimes people also lose their minds and they do horrible things. But again, that's what I'm saying. On specific cases, you have to look at it. But when you look at the data over here, because this is not new data, what do we know of the circumstances that most women are killed? They are killed either by spouses or men they have in one kind of relationship with. Now, that's different for men. Men mostly will be killed either because of certain disputes, certain contexts. but often not by people they have in a relationship with. And that's the distinction.
Okay.
This other distinction is that for women, the safest place is where most of them are killed, homes. You can even talk A and B and B, but those A and B are usually in a place where with a person they're in a relationship with.
Okay.
So the safest places for women where they should be safe is where they get killed. That's different for men who are killed most often not in their homes.
Okay.
That's a distinction.
I don't know if to say unfortunately, but sadly, there's been, especially in most recent months, that there has been a link that is being made then between the deaths that we see of women without taking into consideration what these gender-related issues might be. You might have been in a tumultuous relationship. There may have been in a financial issue within that relationship. There may have been abuse, many, many things. But we've in some quarters just said, well, these women are being killed because they are women. Can we do that kind of generalization on femicide?
Yes. When the issues are in the arena of public discussion, it's very hard to control and to go into the details. And that's why when it comes to crime, for instance, we talk about moral panics. You can have a story that causes a panic. There are people who are kidnapping people and taking their blood. I remember there was such a story many years ago when we were kids. But even those where there is no evidence, they are important for people who work on crime because they cause fear. And the fear of crime is part of the conditions that we need to address in the society because the fear of crime is also subjective. And no matter what the objective facts are, if I feel afraid that if I step outside the standard, this building that I will be mugged, even if the figures show otherwise, you still have a problem. So the role of what we do is to look at the data and to try and address both the actual conditions, but also the subjective, where people feel, what people's feelings and perceptions are, because both are important.
Okay, so let's go back to data, because now I'm curious. What is the actual, one, global rate of femicide? And two, what is the rate of femicide in Kenya? And three, has it increased in the recent past?
Thank you. Excellent questions. And this data is always very problematic. So bear that in mind because data on crime is always problematic.
Why?
For many reasons. First of all, it is not easy to actually make a determination on all the conditions why someone was killed. It could be someone was killed because they had a disagreement, but they have a relationship. Again, collecting crime data is very difficult. Often we only depend on the police data, which is the most accurate data. Then we know not all cases are reported. Even the figures that you see are not necessarily the actual figures. Why? Someone might be attacked today and they die 4 weeks later, a month later. That statistic will probably be recorded differently from what is being recorded. So the crime data itself is a problem.
Okay.
Globally, we know from the countries that do a very good work of these studies, about 60% is femicide. They are gender-related killings of women. In Kenya, when you look at the data, and again, big caveats because the data is also not very good, but for the years where we have the data, you find that about 7 people are killed daily. Out of those 7, 5 are men, 2 are women per day. When you look again at that data, there probably you could add or reduce the number in terms of where gender was actually at play. So the data is not very good, but it's indicative and to tell us actually we have a problem. But, and I'm not sure whether that was your third question, we also need to pay attention not just to those ones who are killed. Remember, by the time someone is killed, particularly if they're in a relationship, you have a whole history of violence. So what these killings tell us is we have a big problem of violence and violence against women in the society. Death, the killing, is basically the end point of a continuum, of a line of violence. So the biggest problem, actually, we should even be attacking is a bigger problem of violence in the society before you come to killings.
Okay, just let him finish my question. Is there an increase in femicide in Kenya so that we can go to city? Because I think that's a very important thing to realize. Because you said that you talked about a moral panic. So is Kenya in a moral panic and the statistics don't show it? Or do we have a serious uptake in terms of our ladies being in actual danger?
Or are we just reporting more?
Yes.
Or are we just reporting more?
The honest answer is that we don't know at the moment. We are looking at the data. My own conclusion looking at it is that we have surges. There's a month you may have a surge that increases exponentially, and then we don't know whether that has increased overall. When you look at the data for the whole year, you might realize that we still have the same numbers. But there are some periods where we have spikes. Like during COVID, when you looked at COVID, you saw spikes in certain crimes, killings, and the rest. But when you look at the data for the whole year, then probably the averages. So the honest answer is that we could be getting more reports, or we could be having surges that we still need to actually explain. And we are looking at the data. We're in the process of looking at this data at the moment and actually see, have we seen an increase or not?
Most of the deaths reported in this country from Nairobi. Have I got this right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Nairobi is the most populous, I could say even county, in the whole country. Nairobi is predominantly urban. The vast majority of the people who live in Nairobi live in settlements that we like to call informal, but they are essentially slums, low-income dwellings, and they live in close proximity to each other, and in most cases they don't have even basic amenities, meaning the conditions in which they live are in and of themselves, one could argue, an ecosystem that could trigger all manner of negative societal norms. Now, we register those number of deaths. The population in Nairobi is not decreasing, it is increasing. If you look at deaths per county, you will also find that, coincidentally, some of the counties with smaller numbers of people and which are less urbanized also record far less cases of homicides. Okay. You're nodding, which means you're agreeing with me partially. Yes.
Yes, correct.
So, when it comes to the issue of reporting matters that are specific to femicide, could I then conclude that men tend to kill each other more, but whatever reasons they have for killing each other have now turned to killing women? And so you have to ask, what is it that is happening now?
Correct.
That is taking that focus away and focusing it on women. What is it?
Correct. The business of killing is predominantly male. So you are correct. Men are the perpetrators of most killings predominantly, and they also kill more men. And even when it comes to the killing of women, it is men. What we know is sometimes periods that you see spikes in the killings.
Yes.
Very often coincide with conditions of economic stress, social stress, unstable population movements. You talked about urban areas, places where there's a sense of community, always, very often have less killings.
Yes.
And very interesting when you look at Nairobi, most of the killings you hear are in Eastlands.
Yes.
Kibera is having very few cases, if any at all. So what is it that is different, yet people think about Kibera as the largest slum in Africa and Eastlands? My own hunch, my own analysis is that Kibera has a very strong sense of community. If you walk through Kibera, people know each other. They have lived there for generations. The populations know each other. Eastlands is the populations are less stable. People come, they stay for 1 month, they leave, they are moving. There's no sense of community.
They are more mobile.
They are more mobile.
Yes.
Mobile populations are always associated with more levels of violence and crime. That's why rural areas, where everyone knows each other, have less cases of maybe homicide, and therefore because they have a sense of community. But the point you asked is, what are the conditions that lead to the killings? We know economic stress, constant or sudden population movements contribute to an extent.
You know
I'm sorry.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
No. So, I mean, last week we saw, because now we're going to start talking about, what should be done about it and what is actually being done about it to reduce this number, because it is a national conversation, as it ought to be. But last week when we saw the number of women in January, and so today's the 27th, by then we're looking at that, and it was the 24th, 23rd, I believe, and 11 women between the 1st of January and that date had already been murdered.
Yeah.
Now, the trace that was done, I'm not sure by whom, but they could always point to a relational issue, some kind of abuse with themselves and their partner, for whatever reason. But we see that one of the biggest issues is that there is sometimes a love triangle, that there's another individual in that, relationship, and that causes some element of discomfort. But like you said, it's not a today, tomorrow thing. It has taken some time and it has festered until the point where taking life seems to now be the last and final thing. So do we see that across board, with those numbers that Mark was talking about, whether they've increased or decreased over time, do we see that the element that would then bring about this, like you talk about economical issues, relational issues, this love triangle story seems to be one that is very prominent, that there always seems to be another person involved, an element of jealousy, an element of something, has matters of the heart now bring about, this intimate partner killing that we see.
I think actually most of the intimate partner killings, when you look at most of the cases, are not necessarily love triangles. There are certain cases that fascinate the media or become reported because they have love triangles, certain young women, and they become really the emblematic cases about this. But when you look at it, many women get killed for many reasons. Either they have left the man, they have not given the man, what triggers is they have not given the man the money that he wanted. There are the relational issues, there are triggers, different triggers. And love triangles in some cases is one of them, but it's not the majority of the cases. And that's a problem because when you look at the killings, they are not only just young women. The killings of those who are, the ages of those who are killed will range from barely teenage to all the way sometimes up to 80. Yes. I know there are some cases of a woman who is almost 90 who was killed recently. So you can see that it defies the age group or the economic status of these women.
We're going to take a break, but then I just wanted to ask before we do that, so then why are they so brutal? So brutal in nature that we see, for example, just one of them, worried that his girlfriend would, take off or whatever. And these are words that he spoke afterwards. And he took an axe to her, or, we rarely see where somebody has, been given a pill to swallow, for example. Somebody's taken a knife to them, taken an axe to them, butchered them, cut off, and it's terrible, traumatic to discuss, but this is exactly what is happening. So why so brutal in the nature of crimes and understanding why that would happen? Why do they take such a brutal way?
Because they are relational. And again, there is also, we have to talk about the norms and what is accepted. What do men think about the women who are about to leave them? There are some who say, if I can't have you, no one will have you. There are those issues that sometimes come into play. And when it's relational, it becomes even more brutal. The killings of stranger and stranger are less brutal, as we know, because There was the very tragic case of the man who was killed in front of his 3-year-old recently by strangers. But we know, you are right, most of the relational killings are more brutal because there's passion involved. And that's what makes it horrifying, as we've seen in the various cases in Nairobi and the rest of the parts of the country.
Want to understand. Dr. Rutere is our guest this hour, and we're looking at the rising cases of femicide in the country. Taking a break and then coming back and looking at ways in which this can be handled. What is being done, and why are these the approaches that should be taken? It's 26 minutes to 9 o'clock. We'll take a quick break and take a look at weather and traffic. We'll be back to continue with this after that.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with Spice FM.
Cloudy conditions at 17 in Nairobi, highs of 24, and we'll see highs of 27 in a sunny Nakuru, highs of 26 in a sunny Nyeri at 16, and at 18 sunny conditions in Eldoret with highs of 25, while Mombasa will be partly sunny through Monday with highs of 33, and we'll see highs of 31 in a sunny Malindi at 27, it's 21 and sunny in Kisumu, going to highs of 29, and we'll see highs of 29 in a mostly sunny Kakamega at 20. We're looking into a sunny Kampala at 19, and at 28 it's cloudy in Dar es Salaam. 17 and sunny in Johannesburg, and at 26 Mogadishu is sunny, and 14 sunny conditions in Addis Ababa. Lagos clear at 26, and Kinshasa sunny at 24.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life.
All right, still pretty messy on the Thika Superhighway. Still coming in from Kasarani Garden City through towards Survey. And Kiambu Road also very busy. We're looking at a number of lanes trying to make their way towards Muthaiga Square this morning. Also then, as you look on the other side of the city, coming in from Langata Road, and this all the way from Magadi Road this way, it's going to be very heavy for some time from what we see. Uhuru Highway also pretty busy. Jogo Road getting out towards Landis in one direction, and then incoming traffic from Lusaka Road very busy this morning as well. The Eastern Bypass still continues. We're looking at traffic coming around the Embakasi Loop going towards North Airport Road with quite the hold up of traffic. I'm sorry if you're on Magadi Road this morning. You're just going to have to take it, guys, and let's try to keep things moving. We'll talk Spice FM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4.
It's 24 minutes to 9 o'clock. Our guest this hour is Dr. Mutuma Rutere, and we're looking at the femicide crisis in Kenya, what the data shows and what we should do about it. Siti?
You know, the alarm that has been raised over the number of women who are being killed in this country raises questions that are pertinent. In fact, in my mind, they should raise even more questions. But it seems that the rise in femicide is not in a vacuum. There seems to be attendant triggers that seem to move alongside it. Because 10 years ago, we didn't have this sort of problem.
Yeah.
In fact, 5 years ago, we didn't have the problems we're talking about right now. So what is it that you could say is a common thread that traverses every area that you hear of? Men killing men, that one we take it as a norm. Yes,
sadly so.
Bizarre as it is, we take it as a norm. But this targeted focus on women, young women, middle-aged women, old women, what would you say is the common thread that seems to traverse all these tragic stories that we hear of these deaths?
Well, thank you. I think we also need to look at the broader problem of violence. The killing of women is not it's actually also connected with a bigger problem of violence in the society. It's not in isolation. The Kenyan society has also become more violent. When you look at the violent crimes in the country, they have also been increasing over time. So this is also part of it. We have an increasing problem of gangs, young people, youngsters, some as young as 10 in places like Mombasa, who are basically around and killing people. So my argument is that if we want to address this, it's not in isolation from other problems of violence in the society. It's all linked. The problem of economic stresses, the problem of drugs, alcohol, which are also affecting the fabric of the society itself. All of these are actually one way or the other linked to the problem of violence in general and the problem of violence against women. So it's a bigger problem that needs to be addressed.
Are you saying that Kenyans are stressed and that they have poor coping mechanisms to the stress? In fact, let me make it better. Is Kenya a depressed country, and is violence how we are reacting to it instead of seeking help?
I have no professional training on that to make that determination of stress. But what I know is that there are certain conditions that lead to violence. Stark inequalities. Do you know the most violent countries in the world? South Africa,
Yes.
Brazil, top always. Look at the economic structures of those countries.
Yes.
They have the countries with the starkest inequality.
The richest people with the poorest people.
Precisely.
Oh yeah, the rich are so rich.
Precisely.
They set new records for wealth.
Precisely.
The poor
are very poor. They set new records for poverty.
Yes.
But
speaking of which, just to show the stark difference, I once went to Umklanga in Durban, and we literally drove about 10 minutes. And Umklanga is amazing. It's God. The Range Rovers, the Ferraris. City 10 minutes out of that place. 10. Mad, dead broke slums.
Mad,
matope.
That's a bit stark, isn't it?
It is. It is shockingly stark.
And so what we know, people talk about poverty. Poverty doesn't necessarily lead to violent crime. You can actually have a very largely poor community, but not necessarily crime. But the one correlation that we see from data and or experts will tell you is that inequality is positively correlated to violent crime.
Okay.
So not poverty.
So are we saying that inequality, because obviously inequality, there's some part of that spectrum where folks are all right, wealthy, and the other side is that those who unfortunately are poor. Now, are we saying that the perpetrators of this violent crime, more often than not, will come from the poor side of the spectrum?
Well, violent crime is largely is actually mostly correlated with the poorest. But gender-based violence defies
absolutely
all the economic status.
Yes.
So that's the other bit that is very, very important to bear in mind. The violence against women cuts across all socioeconomic classes. But the crime, the ordinary property crime, physical crime, you find the most, it's basically people who will be largely poor.
Okay.
And there's a reason why urban areas become very important when you're talking about violent crime. Why? Because urban areas, extreme inequalities coexist with extreme wealth. The person who is extremely poor walks across and interacts every day with a person who is extremely wealthy.
And if you
that
find
creates some friction in the society that we need to think about.
I would imagine, and that's why that even in community, when you find a specifically affluent part, not too far from that, is that you will find a slum.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's an economic fact, but also remember that what ties this thing and brings about that friction that you speak of is when there is no hope. If there are wealthy people and there's a clear path, and you know that if I take said yes, I can also. So you aspire.
Yes.
But when you accompany this with a sense of hopelessness,
desperation.
Because if you look at the stats in Kenya, okay, I have been sent some details here by a friend of ours, a lady by the name of Patricia Ndago. This is Africa Data Hub. They say this: most of the women who, the year 2024 was the worst when it comes to reporting such cases.
Yeah.
Worst possible, okay? The women who were targeted the most, around 70% were women between the age of 18 and 35, okay? And many of these, again, 70% were partner related. Now, the group of men who perpetrated this crime, again, it's that same age group.
Yes.
66% of these perpetrators were aged between 18 and 35. So we actually know where
the problem
is.
Yes. What is it about this age bracket that gets them so riled up that they are able to lash out and commit these atrocious crimes?
Question: are these the ones we call Gen Z?
They are the ones we call Gen Z.
It's the reason I'm asking. Continue.
Yeah, it's the same demographic. I mean, youth, most of the crimes will fall within that demographic. There are a few people you find in the prison who are older, but that demographic that they are talking about is exactly the one that actually commits most crimes. And that's where we need to think about interventions. And I'm glad you're talking about hope, because we need to think of, so where do we intervene and how do we intervene? Very often everyone is thinking police. And we say police are not doing a good job. But in most of these places are not, the solution is not necessarily police. It's other interventions. You talked about hope. You talked about exit from situations of abuse and violence. How can such women exit? By the time a woman many times comes to be killed, particularly the ones in a stable relationship or a long marriage relationship, they will have had many cases of violence against them. So what are the exit points for them?
So that's interesting that you say
look, if I may, there's a dance. It's called Mapangale. I don't know whether you've seen it.
I've seen it.
I find it very disturbing.
It's a dance.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
So basically, someone dances. There are two people dancing. One is acting like he's chopping the other heads. One's head off. The other one is
pretending
moving
like the
his
head has been chopped off.
It's a dance.
It's
Yes,
a dance.
yes.
It's a dance.
And where do people dance this dance?
In clubs.
Yeah.
In fact, I saw it in church too.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
So now, for me,
church.
Yes, I
Yes.
saw it in a church service.
I have to avoid that church you go to.
Unfortunately, I don't know which one it was. So now, the reason why I bring this up is during the Gen Z riot, and I was very keen on it, there was a lady carrying a placard saying, "I'm already suicidal, so you killing me does not scare me." I am relating it with many stories that you've said, that if I can't have you, no one can have you. And you talked about a moral panic, and moral panic is when people panic about a certain thing over happening in their society. But could we be looking not only at hopelessness, not only at increased drug use and what is it, we saw it in the headlines, bars near schools, but we're talking about a generation that has been politically ignored, has not been given the capacity to deal with their psychological traumas. They do not have hope about their futures, and they simply don't have the shock absorbers to absorb shocks. Is that what we are seeing them express even in their dance moves when they're talking about Mapangale?
I think all those factor into this big problem, and the problem of violence and crime is always a good way of discussing what is happening in the society, because violence is always a symptom of all other structural problems in the society. And good science shows us there is no single explanation for a complex phenomenon like this. So all those fits in, and therefore any interventions you have to think about must accept this complexity of possible reasons why we are having this kind of responses, from schools to the problem of drugs, to the problem of socialization, to what is happening within families. All of them are part of these drivers of this complex problem of violence.
Let me ask.
Okay.
There is a little matter of what you call organ trafficking. Does it feature?
We have heard about that problem. It could be, but I would say that it is not the significant problem within this problem of femicide. Getting organs from an individual requires some bit of sophistication.
You need knowledge.
You need knowledge. You need certain equipment. A lot of the killings we are seeing may not necessarily point that. That's not to say they may not be, but this is not a new problem. The problem of violence against women, we know quite a bit about it to know that even without the unending complexity of something like organ trafficking, it's been part of the society.
You know, gender-based violence, especially when it's targeted against women, has been considered a norm even in African societies. Wife beating was considered wife disciplining, okay? It was something that many men considered normal. One didn't hear of deaths. One also didn't hear of serious injury. Okay? Not to say it was good. I'm simply saying that it existed. But behind the beating and the so-called discipline was a certain thought process. And that thought process demeaned the position of women in relationships. And because of this, then it then made it okay for them to be treated badly, for them to be beaten.
Until the point whereby a number of them felt that if they were not beaten, that they were not loved.
To be honest with you, I was once at a gender violence conference, and one of the ladies who was invited, after listening to people talking badly against gender violence, she lifted up her hand, and this is not a third-hand story, I was there live, and she said, "How will I know my husband loves me unless he beats me?"
Okay.
And the hall went quiet. But what City is saying is serious. Because I have said before, we live in a society where we say we are progressive. But if Ndu is to get married, she will not be part of the dowry negotiations because that's a man-only affair.
And it is me they want to marry.
You see, so I think what City is asking, is there a problem in our original societal thought that is influencing and informing the gender and femicide specific?
But I have to ask the question, and I think that sometimes we link between what happened historically. CT gives examples here many times. Men used to marry multiple women. Did we hear that, whether those relational issues, did you hear that a man was beating a woman to within an inch of her life or taking her life? Did we hear that? So the original has seemed, we seem to have digressed significantly from what was happening before. Now, and this is one of the questions that I wanted to bring in. All of the things we mentioned here have direct pointers to mental health and its stability. And for me, one of the things that we must address is that mental health issue. Because what happens that you can deviate so far from the norm to take someone's life? You're a crime expert, sir. You know that to take another life is not easy. It is, it is a difficult thing to take life with a weapon, with your hands, whatever it is. It's hard. But you get to the point where you have deviated so far from the norm that it is the only option for you to take at that point. And for me, when you talk about interventions, which I think we must look at now, albeit briefly, when we talk about interventions of what to be done, for me, it is not 100 million shillings to go to counties to put up tents and banners and say, stop gender violence. Yes, we have desks at police posts, which you mentioned, but it is the same places where we've heard the famous cases of a woman who went to report a rape at a police station and then was assaulted, allegedly, by a police officer. We have just a few weeks ago been told of young women who have gone to the police station. And I mean, if it's going to be vulgar, I apologize in advance. But what do the police officers say? Utapea susu. Kwanza. We talk about it. It's important for us to say it. So what are the interventions that we ought to look at? Looking at other statistics. Only 16% of women, females in an abusive relationship will actually walk away. That is ridiculously low. 84% of women who are abused on a daily will remain there to either continue in that abuse or to meet their death. So isn't that what we should be targeting? The individuals through programming.
Thank you very much. Very, very important, because I talked about exits from this highway of death. What kind of exit we providing? If a woman wants to leave, where are they going? First of all, in the short term, are there safe houses? Are there social workers from the county government, from the local level? I tell you, the local chief knows which man beats the wife or which wife beats the man, whichever is the case. But what are the social interventions at that level? If that woman wants to leave, where do they go? They have children. If she left, what will happen to the children? So sometimes they opt to stay and end up dead. So you need to think of the exits. But you need to think about this holistically. You need to look at it as a better understanding of the reason why women are getting killed. It needs to be driven by evidence. It needs to be driven by data so that you understand, for instance, the first responders, law enforcement officials and the rest, for instance, need better training, need better supervision of how they are actually handling them. In the hospitals, what is the interlinkage between the hospitals and the other programs to provide support? And you see the health people in the health centers will tell you everything that you need to know about this violence because they see them, they treat them, and then they go home. So those connections, the fact that we don't have comprehensive programs across the country that are actually addressing the problem of violence is part of where we actually need to intervene. And this cannot only be done by government. It has to be done by various actors. Government is very good at steering and coordinating, but you have to have churches, you have to have mosques, you have to have community groups that can do, some of them do a better job than any other actors. You need to give them support so that they provide this kind of service. But also we need this kind of conversations. Remember when HIV/AIDS came, there were conversations around the country, in schools, in hospitals, in churches. We need to have conversations with our men and young men and boys and men in their men groups to have a conversation. The same way they had conversation about AIDS, HIV/AIDS. What is happening to the men?
You know, Dr. the two things. One, according to data that we have, that Mapangale dance, once it became commonplace, the hacking of women went up by 6%. We were talking about the power of example. You see, where the power of example has always been strongest is in the family unit or the collective community unit. Now, that has broken down.
True.
Yep.
The government can't do this job.
No.
It actually can't.
In fact, CT, do you know how many police officers we have? 110,000.
110?
Yes.
To police 55 million people?
Yes.
Okay. How is that going to happen? They can't. We drop the ball somewhere. Something is broken in this society of ours, and it's actually broken badly.
Doc, can I ask you, because we just have 2 minutes to go, but can I ask you, from a I don't know, do you say from a crime perspective or from a criminal perspective? You're not a criminal, so you wouldn't know. From that perspective,
yes.
What is the likelihood that as a criminal or somebody who would perpetuate this crime, if they saw a placard or if they saw a tent erected somewhere in the county or they saw posters, what is the likelihood that they would stop abusing this woman or not kill this woman because they saw that tent and people are talking in barazas? What's the likelihood?
They won't. I mean, the criminals, they know that you're not supposed to steal or kill, but they continue to steal and kill. So it is awareness and conversations should not be targeted at criminals. It is targeted at the rest of the society that generates these conditions. It is to address the infrastructure of ideas that it's okay to kill the woman because I can't have it. It's those conversations. That's where the conversations need to be, not the criminals. The criminals are either people who are psychologically damaged or people who basically need other forms of intervention by law enforcement or medical practitioners. That's not where that conversation is. That's for the rest of society. It's at the school, at the church, at the community level.
And that's where it needs to push. What should we see in the next coming, days, weeks? In my opinion, 100 million shillings has already been wasted in terms of what should be done. But what should we see?
I think it's very good that we have a task force in place. I think that's very good because it recognizes a complex problem. The next step after that, hopefully, is to set up a very, very comprehensive data-driven program that it relies on expertise to say, this is where we need intervention. This is where we need resources. Sometimes you don't need resources to fix problems. Sometimes all you need is to attitude change.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's just to see whether so-and-so is doing their job. Sometimes it's basically to change how young people respond to content. Remember, we now have a very networked society in terms of technology. Technology is now an accelerator to some of these problems. We need to also see harnessing of the potential of technology and not only see the technology as a problem because we can't do anything about it largely. How do we harness the technology so that technology becomes the tool for helping women?
Indeed. Dr. Mutuma Rutere is the director of the National Crime Research Center. Thank you for this this morning, and it's our hope that we continue to have such conversations and to push these initiatives to see these numbers go down and be eliminated. Thank you for being in the hot seat of the Situation Room this morning. Hope to continue those conversations again in the future.
Thank you for having me.
Asante. Good morning. It's 9 a.m.
President William Ruto has appointed a 9-member IEBC selection panel that will recruit the next chair and commissioners of the electoral body. The members include Kiome Linda Gaki, Olo Adams, James Evans Misati, Nicodemus Kipchirchir Bore, Koki Muli Grignon, Caroline Kituku, Tanui Andrew Kipkoech, Nelson Makanda, and Fatuma Saman. They are set to be sworn in any time from now at a ceremony to be held at the Supreme Court buildings. Chief Justice Martha Koome will preside over the ceremony. The appointees will be responsible for the recruitment of nominees for appointment as the chairperson and members of the IEBC. 2 police officers have been arrested in Athi River, Machakos County after they were found with 8 pieces of ivory tusks worth 4.9 million shillings. Police say the 2 officers were arrested by their 2 colleagues along the Nairobi-Mombasa highway within Kumbi Township. One of the suspects, is a female police constable attached to a station in Mirangine sub-county, while the other is a male attached to the Critical Infrastructure Protection Unit in Karatina. The ivory was recovered from a motor vehicle that the suspects were using. The suspects have been handed over to the Directorate of Criminal Investigations detectives attached to the Kenya Wildlife Service pending their arraignment in court. The White House says the U.S. will not go ahead with tariffs on Colombia after the country agreed to accept with restrictions deported migrants. Donald Trump had ordered 25% tariffs on all Colombian goods after its president barred 2 U.S. military deportation flights from landing in the country on Sunday. Colombian President Gustavo Petro had initially responded by saying his country would accept deportees on civilian planes without treating treating them like criminals. A White House statement says Colombia has now agreed to accept migrants arriving on U.S. military aircraft without limitation or delay. Colombia says Washington has agreed to treat repatriated citizens with dignity. That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Looking to upgrade your kitchenware, furniture, or electronics? We've got the best deals for you. Digger Shop, your one-stop online store for electronics, furniture, kitchenware, and more. Buy online now and enjoy fast and convenient countrywide delivery in just 48 hours. Here's the best part. Every Saturday from 6:30 p.m. you get exclusive discounts on your favorite items during Shop.Digger on KTN. So why wait? Visit shop.digger.co.ke and experience convenience at your fingertips. Digger Shop. Fast, easy, affordable.
Are you a young person looking to unlock your potential? Are you ready to take the future in your hands? If so, then listen up. KCB to Jejiri is the plan. It's designed to empower young people like you, develop skills and knowledge you need to succeed in life. KCB to Jejiri combines vocational skills training, business development training, access to finance and business mentorship, preparing youth for jobs, entrepreneurship and wealth creation. Don't be left out. Visit kcbgroup.com/foundation to learn more.
Are you ready to unleash your creativity and dive into the dynamic world of media? Then listen up. At Standard Talanta Academy, a collaboration between Talanta Institute and Standard Group, we are redefining the rules of the game. With our Media Mastery course, you'll embark on a journey that goes beyond the ordinary. From TV and film production, photography to digital journalism, our curriculum is designed to equip you with the skills needed to thrive in today's media landscape. But we are not just about theory, we are about action. Our hands-on approach means you will be creating, producing, and innovating from day one. And with Standard Group, home to KTN, Radio Maisha, Spice FM, and the Standard newspaper, you'll have unparalleled access to industry expertise and real-world opportunities. So, if you're ready to turn your passion into profit, join us at Standard Talanta Academy and unlock your full potential. Visit www.talanta.ac.ke or call 0724 468 468 for more information. Standard Talanta Academy. Unleash creativity.
All right, at a few minutes after 9 o'clock, traffic still pretty busy in the city this morning and finding its way through towards Langata Road. If you're coming off of Magadi Road today, still very busy and you're going to have to contend with that one. Also, then we're looking at traffic that has built significantly coming off of Ngong Road towards the city and on Mombasa Road, just past Next Gen. Still very heavy traffic out towards the Nyeri Stadium roundabout. It's also still pretty busy coming off of Langata Road. Some of that will go towards Raila Odinga Way. Uhuru Highway is busy getting into the CBD, and we're also looking at traffic that's busy on Jogo Road as you head towards the city as well. The Thika Superhighway, quite some traffic still coming in from Garden City, and it's also busy as you come in from Kiambu Road this morning. Very, very busy coming off the Northern Bypass. Some of that will move in both directions. So let's keep an eye on all of this, and we shall talk as we try to keep things moving this morning. Spice FM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4.
7 minutes after 8, so rather after 9 o'clock now, 8 minutes after 9 o'clock. Good morning and welcome to the final hour of Kenya's biggest conversation this Monday. Had quite some information. Don't forget that you can talk to us on X, hashtag The Situation Room. Quite a number of conversations continuing there, and we can keep on pushing this morning. All right, we're getting into an education conversation this morning, and very necessary for us to continue having as we look through the different things that are happening with the country, getting diverse views views and getting diverse information as much as we can and as much as possible is extremely important. And our guest this hour, who is already seated, is an edutech enthusiast, as we'll be looking at technology solutions in education. Harrison Agosa is here this morning. Harrison, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm well.
Karibu Sana.
Thank you.
You're in the hot seat of the Situation Room this morning. And we're looking at a number of issues. We've looked at education and we continue to look at it. Extremely important for us to do. And you call yourself an edutech enthusiast. And we'll, of course, be looking at technological solutions towards the education issue in the country. So welcome. As we normally do, we'll welcome you with today's proverb. CT will share that with you and you tell us what you think about it and how you would, how you resonate with that.
Yes, our proverbs for the whole of this week come from the United Republic of Tanzania. Okay? Formerly Tanganyika. And then they saw it fit to unite with Zanzibar and they became Tanzania. No matter how fast moonlight runs, daylight catches up.
All right. I think that means that something that is standardized. However much things change, the standard will always remain. So that if something else that is not matching the standard comes up, however much it moves and appears to be taking over, the right one will always take precedence.
Okay. That's the most philosophical answer we've gotten today.
Yes, it is. It is. Meaning, let me give you this broad-based understanding. Now, please fit in where you think is appropriate for you. Thank you.
All right. Well, Harrison, thank you for being here this morning. Education is a big issue, however we want to look at it, whatever level we want to look at it at, whether you're looking at quality, whether you're looking at, delivery, whether you're looking at provision of it, its importance, it's as a right across board. But what we're looking at today specifically is then delivering it in a technological manner, and if there's solutions, then there must be a problem. Just give us an overview from where you sit. First of all, you're an edutech enthusiast. Can we start with what that is? First of all, how does one become an edutech enthusiast? And then we look at maybe some of the issues that you think are education related in Kenya.
I've been in this line for the last 15 years, and I think when you look at education, there are many gaps. And I've always found, technology to be the best way to fix some of these problems. This morning I'll be addressing, or I'll be highlighting two that I think are very significant in solving some of these problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. What are some of the problems, first of all, before we look at the solutions, according to how you've seen it?
All right. I'm looking at the issue of timetabling in schools as a major problem. If you go outside there and do investigation, you'll find even some schools have not stabilized their teaching because timetable systems that are running in schools are not yet as efficient as they are supposed to be.
Okay, let's pause for a second. What is the role of a timetable in a school?
The core role of a timetable in school is to allocate and appropriate resources. This is human resource, time, and space.
That's what a timetable is for.
Correct.
So when a timetable is performing the function and the purpose for which it is intended, what exactly should it look like and what should it be doing?
It should ensure that there's available space is well utilized. Human resource, this means teachers and lecturers, are having the right time to teach, and students are able to get the correct lecture or the correct lesson or the correct subject at the required time.
Okay, now, a timetable that isn't suitable to fit into the box that you have just stated, what would it look like? Mark, we need you to help.
That's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is literally what is happening in schools. You see, for example, this Monday, that was English, and then Tuesday we have lesson 2, CRA, but there is a star there. That CRA is clashing with another subject. So the human resource, let's say that teacher who was supposed to be in that class on Tuesday, the second lesson, at the same time is supposed to be in another class. Now that can't work. So it means that one class has to go untaught. And you can see, I just took this as a case sample from one of the schools. You realize that for this week, they're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clashes. So in education, 5 clashes means this teacher, because the student missed that class, they have to get time over the weekend and cover that work, or late in the evening if it's boarding school, to cover that work. If it's primary day school, they come early, maybe at 6:30, they cover that.
So which resource do we find is insufficiently deployed here, or insufficiently supplied in this instance?
Good. There can be enough teachers, but there are not enough rooms. For example, if it's the case of labs, that's one. There can be fewer teachers and there are more rooms. So we will get children in class, but the teacher is not there. So it means that there is human resource deficit. The third thing is that there is the technical aspect of the system itself that is used to timetable. 90% of schools that are using technology systems are using at least one system that I know, and is not Kenyan based. It is foreign. So it's not tailored to our system. So you will find that it is not capturing the technicalities that are existing in our local system. And that's where I'm coming in. That you will timetable, every teacher will be given a class, but when you run the system, you find it clashing naturally because of the technical aspects of it. So this is the problem. And I want you to look at the problem in 2 ways. One, you look at it in terms of the system, the technological system has flaws.
Okay, first of all, what is this technological system?
Yeah,
in fact, before we go there, how big is this problem?
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
The problem.
I think we can put this down now.
Yes.
You see, it's. I remember missing classes in school, right? I didn't think it was a problem because I liked being free. But how big
you missed classes because there was no teacher, or you absconded?
Well, in university I absconded. In primary school, the teacher was not there. But the point I'm making is, yes, we can see there's a problem as per that chart. But let's say in 100% of Kenyan schools, they talk about secondary and primary school. How big is the problem actually?
In secondary school, the problem is slightly more than 50% of the schools.
50%.
Of people absconding.
Not really
missing
classes.
The classes
okay,
that is spoke
if I say missing classes, that means a different thing.
Right. Okay. So the
timetable clash.
Okay. Fine.
That's the point. All
right.
Because the teacher would be there, but that teacher is supposed to go to 2 classes at the same time. So that's not possible.
When did this problem start?
That's so strange.
It's long. The problem has always been there. In fact, before some schools began using ICT to solve this problem, it used to be manual. Teachers would have cards. So you would put cards to all the classes you are going to teach. So when you go to class, you get another teacher has removed your card, has put in a different place, has put his card there. So it means that you come and you get that the teacher should go to this class. It is not you, but another teacher. So, so the problem has been there for a long time.
I don't know.
Why does this seem like a simple problem?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm a bit slow.
Yes, you are slow.
Thanks. I need to understand.
We are all slow on this one, yeah.
I need to understand this problem. Because you have a schedule, right?
Correct.
Math in the morning at 8:30, CRE, then you have history, whatever.
Yeah.
So are we saying the problem here is that the teacher who is teaching CRE, for example, at 9:40 is also scheduled to teach another CRE, or rather another subject at the same time?
in another class.
In another class?
Yes.
Who is this person who is doing this schedule?
You know,
the timetabler.
There's a human
there's
being.
a person in charge of this.
There's a person in charge of the timetable.
Who is aware of these other individuals? Like if I'm the one tabling, I know that CT is a teacher of English.
Yes.
I know that you are a teacher of chemistry.
Yes,
and I know that you are a teacher of math.
Yes.
I know these individuals, they exist.
Yes.
Why would I put CT to teach English at 9:40 in class X and then also put him to teach English at 9:40 in class Y? Why would I do that?
Right, and I like it. I like the way you put it. It looks like a simple problem, but it's not a simple problem. I've been a timetabler for 7 straight years, and
you also made the mistake.
You still had 50
for those number of years. So I can only term it is a technical thing, but. You have, for example, three English lessons or 4 English lessons in a day, from 1, 2, 3, and 4. But you are supposed also to put the Kiswahili. You're supposed to put their math, all these subjects. And at the end of the day, you have 7 periods or 8 periods, depending on the school. So you find that by the time you run the system to allocate those teachers, some teachers find that they cannot be in class as you had anticipated.
Why? There must be something
that's
stopping that teacher from being in class.
Because there is 2 spaces for him, but he's a single teacher.
So it's not the teacher issue then?
It's not the teacher issue.
Then it must be the timetabler's issue.
The timetabler has a problem.
Yes. And that's what I've come to address, because timetable manually being done has been established to be impossible. It has to be done by a system.
Wait. Hold on.
Yes.
How many teachers are we talking about in a school?
Of course, it depends on the school. Some are 30, average 50.
So 50 teachers.
Yeah.
A timetabler is...
Wait. Don't start this. 50 teachers, how many classrooms, how many streams,
correct,
and what's the total population of this? Because all these things come in. You can have 50 teachers, and that school has around 2,000 students.
And you have a teacher who's teaching biology in Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4.
No, you see, my question is, he said it is impossible.
Yes.
To do it manually.
We will get there.
Yeah.
We will get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Yeah. So 50 teachers.
Yes.
50 teachers. 4, let's assume it's secondary. 4
streams.
Years.
4 years.
From 1, from 2, from 3, from 4. Imagine. And 50 teachers. You've got X number of biology teachers, X number of chemistry teachers, X number of mathematics teachers, because only about 6, 7 subjects.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it's impossible to schedule.
You've looked at it from a simplistic view, because when we say this is Form 1, we have Form 1 white, Form 1 blue.
Yes, I'm aware.
Then Form 4, so it means there are about 16 classes for a 4-streamed school.
Okay, we've taken a 4
subject.
No. 4 streamed as in every year has 4 streams. From 1 A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
You understand?
I get it.
Yeah. So that would be 16.
Okay.
So these people, you have to come up with a balance whereby by the end of the day, at least every teacher is supposed to have gone to class for the number of 8 periods that we have.
Okay.
So doing it manually generally is not is
it really impossible?
That was my question.
Yes, it is impossible.
All right.
Yeah, I'm saying now from...
okay, let's go with the flow.
Yes.
Let's say it is impossible.
Yes.
And this is where the solution comes in.
Yes.
Sorry, can I ask a question before the solution?
Ask 3.
3 even. Okay, thanks. How big of a problem is this in Kenya today, where we are saying that timetable scheduling has, hampered on learning of students? Is it a problem that has even been documented somewhere?
It is. It's a problem. I don't know how I'm going to put it. You look at the adoption of ICT to solve the issue, the problem. Okay. That's why I say that slightly over 50% of secondary schools have adopted ICT to solve the issue, and That's why I came here. I wanted to share one of the solutions of that problem based on ICT. Primary schools, less than 10% have adopted ICT to solve that issue. And that brings me to the second problem that I wanted us to look at. I was looking at the technical...
Before your second problem, if I remember I think it is Form 2 mathematics,
yes.
There was a problem-solving technique called optimization.
Absolutely.
Where you've got tap A that removes 30 liters of water per minute, and you've got tap C which removes 50 liters per minute, and tap D that has 2 liters per minute. And you are asked what is the best ratio to fill a bucket as quickly as possible.
Yes.
So there are mathematical formulas for finding the best line of fit.
Yes.
For distributing resources.
Absolutely.
And it's teachers who teach this.
Yeah.
And it's teachers who do timetabling.
Yes. Who know themselves who teach in school.
Yes. And it's okay. So
I'm still conflicted.
No, it is fine. Me, I want to listen to this solution, the technical solution.
Okay.
Before we go back to
before I talk about matrices and logarithms and differentiation.
No, this is a straightforward conversation. Now you are complicating it. Next thing you're going to come with an algorithm.
Yes. Find why.
Actually, what he's saying is what is running the system. Now you have to have formula that you have to input in the system that are able to find those lines of best fit for all the lessons, for all the teachers.
Yes.
Then by the end of the day, when you use the system, there is no clash. Everybody goes to class.
Okay.
Yes, that's where we are talking about. What you need to appreciate is that when there are conflicts on the timetable, is the technical problem, but that's on the surface. The problem there is a conflict of human resource. You see, when somebody fails to go to class and is supposed to be answerable, and somebody who took his lesson is with him there, they can't work well. So it's an issue of reducing conflict in institutions, what we are trying to look at. So we have come up with a technological solution which is able to ensure that there is zero clashing on the timetable. Totally zero.
Okay. Does this have anything to do with shortage of teachers in schools?
Partly, but in the recent years, TSC has done quite a lot. A good number of schools, even if its shortage is 2-3, is not that big, so to say. So we've come up with that solution to distribute human resources, to distribute space, to distribute time effectively, that there is no clashing. That's number one. Number two, we are able to give the teachers the timetable in soft copy. In most schools, you'll get the timetable is printed. The teacher is going to hang it on a wall somewhere. So every morning he checks, then he knows I'm supposed to go to this class. Then some will take a photo, they put in the phone, and sometimes you clear the gallery and the timetable is gone. You're at home, you can't know whether you are supposed to, or you're in a different place, you can't know your next class. So our solution alerts the teacher in form of the way alarm does. If it's 15 minutes to time, then you will get that you are being reminded you have a lesson in the next 15 minutes. The way you set it, if you want it to alert you 5 minutes to time, it will alert you that within 5 minutes you should have gone to class. That is the second issue about that system. The third issue is that it's able to calculate automatically the CBE, curriculum-based establishment. The school is able to know if there are deficit of teachers of biology, deficit of teachers of chemistry, and so on in real time. So at the university level, same thing. Actually, university system is more complex than these other systems that we are talking about, because you have to allocate the unit, you have to allocate the lecture, and you allocate the lecturer. So if you look at, for example, the timetable of any of these universities that you can mention, you'll find that they put a long list on the notice board.
Yeah.
So you'll have to pick your course codes, then you write them somewhere. So if the lecturer wants to change the class, Let's say he will not be there at 2, he will be there at 5. Comrades cannot get this information unless they go, for example, on WhatsApp and so on. Now, the lecturer getting the lecture room to allocate or to take that class is also a problem. But this system will clearly show him. It will show him lecture room this and this is free at this particular time. When he allocates, he says, now I'm shifting this course code from this time to this time, the comrades get the signal or they get an alert instantly on their phone that our lecture has been shifted to this and this time.
Allow me to take a few steps back,
Sure.
just for us to fully understand this.
Yes.
So, School X, right, has 50 teachers.
Yes.
And you've got around about 14 subjects.
Correct.
4 streams per class from Form 1 to Form 4,
yes,
for example.
Yes.
So, before the technology, somehow, according to what you're saying, they were stumbling along and that somebody would miss a class because there's double scheduling or there's, inadequate scheduling.
Absolutely.
It's the same teachers, essentially, that are then input into this technology. Yeah. It's the same number of teachers.
Yes.
It is the same courses.
Yes.
It's the same subjects.
Yes.
It's the same class times.
Yes.
What would the technology do here that would be different using the same input elements to bring about a different result?
Yes. There is efficiency that is brought about by an algorithm that human beings cannot achieve. Mm-hmm. Yes. The way my friend had mentioned something about some formula. You put in several algorithms that continuously test that this number of teachers are out now. It runs again and fits them again. Few remain, it runs again and fits them. Few remain, it runs. You can run maybe 4 times and before everything is fitted in. So there is something an algorithm does that not all physical approach can be able to do. Mm-hmm. It's not possible.
Okay. Yeah. I think I get you now.
Yeah.
The move from physical and manual placement of teachers is what your algorithm is trying to solve.
Correct. And space.
The question Ndu is asking, and my IT lecturer asked this question, is there 2 kinds of I/O errors, CT? I don't know whether you know this.
What on earth is an I/O?
So typically it means input-output error.
Yeah.
You get the wrong input, you get the wrong output, or you put the right input and you get right input and you get the wrong output. But there is another error that is also called I/O. It's called an idiot operator error. That the person operating
is the one who is
the one who's faulty. Yes. Yeah. So you may create a system. How do you deal with the human resource? Because that system will not operate without human input.
Yes. Those are the things that we've been trying to fix over the years. We looked at the existing systems, and we're not just looking at the existing system in Kenya. We've been looking across the globe. We took time to study over 30 different systems in details. And what we are providing is that something that a teacher, because he's not technically trained to handle that, but they should have some platform whereby with their basic skills, they can be able to achieve, or they can run the timetable or the system with very minimal errors, so that we provide templates. For example, if we know this is an international school running Montessori, for example, there are templates for that. So once the school picks it, that template has fixed some of the errors that would have come as a result of human beings. Let's say secondary schools, we have those who do different combinations, physics, history, geography, business studies, and so on. We have those templates already. So those templates now are fixing the errors that would result as a result of maybe human inefficiencies or something like that.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's take a break at this point. We're talking with edutech enthusiast Harrison Agosa, and we're looking at technology solutions in education this hour. Scheduling is a big one, apparently. Let's come back after this break and continue with that conversation. It's 27 minutes to 10.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with Spice FM.
19 and cloudy conditions in Nairobi. We'll see highs of 24 and lows of 15. It's 20 degrees and sunny in Nakuru, and at 20 sunny in Nyeri. 19 and sunny in Eldoret with highs of 25, and we're looking into a partly sunny Mombasa, going to highs of 33 and lows today of 24. Into Malindi, 29 and sunny, highs of 31, and in Kisumu it's sunny at 24 with highs of 29. Kakamega is sunny at 23 with highs of 29, and into Kampala it's sunny at 22 with highs of 29, while Dar es Salaam at 29 is cloudy. 21 and sunny in Johannesburg, and at 29 it's sunny in Mogadishu. 17 and mostly sunny in Addis Ababa, while it's sunny at 26 after a clear morning in Lagos. It's mostly sunny at 24 in Kinshasa. We're looking at -1 and a sunny windy afternoon in Beijing, while at 10 Paris is mostly cloudy, and at 8 London mostly cloudy. We'll round this off in New York, where Sunday night it is still -1 and cloudy, coming into Monday, highs of 3 and lows of -1.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life.
All right, we should be coming out of traffic hour, but it's still pretty busy this morning, and still some traffic coming off of the Thika Superhighway. That has been busy from the jump today. The rain hasn't helped either. We're now looking at traffic that's coming in from the Outer Ring Junction heading into the CBD. That's bumper to bumper all the way through towards the Muranga Road and Wangari Maathai Junction. Also still continues as you come in from Capital Centre out towards the Nyeri Stadium on Mombasa Road, and the Eastern Bypass, that little nook as you head towards North Airport Road is busy. Before that, Mombasa Road is not doing too badly, but the traffic on Magadi Road is epic today, and it's bumper to bumper through towards Langata Road this morning. As you come off of Waiyaki Way, the interchange that takes you right around from Gongro on the other side, joining with James Gishuru, is still pretty busy. So we're going to keep an eye on things. We're not out of traffic hour, even at the time for Monday morning, but we keep watching and keep clicking away. Talk to us. Spice FM KE on X.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
This morning with Harrison Agosa, and we're looking at technological solutions to some of the problems that we see within School City.
The problems that we speak of, how widespread would you say they are in Kenya, and how much does it affect the learning process of students?
From my understanding, high schooler, the problem could affect in the range of 50%, but primary school is extremely affected because I've been in the fields trying to sell the program. You will get between 8 to 9 schools are still doing manual timetabling. Only one would be primary schools. So actually, why I really find this to be important in the new comprehensive system that we are getting into, the CBC system. You know, the commission recommended that the comprehensive primary school will have one head, the manager. So this means that he's going to run the pre-primary, which has different number of learning areas, the primary that has different learning areas, and the intermediary, and then we have the JSS having different learning areas. JSS in fact has 9. Mm-hmm. So it's like now you are having a timetable for 2 or 3 different schools But because it's one head, he has to put all these people together and they work as a team. So timetabling will be very critical because for these 9 learning areas, it will have more periods so that it accommodates the 9 learning areas. The one for 7 will have lesser time, the one for 5 will have lesser time, and so on. So it means that you are supposed to come up with a schedule or a timetable that accommodates 3 schools in one. Now, this is not an easy task as I can say it. That's why we have provided now a schedule or a timetable that has templates, so that once a school, a primary school acquires one, or let me say now comprehensive school acquires one, you will get in a template for the junior school. Then you get a template for the primary school, the intermediate school, and the preschool in one package. The systems that exist is not possible to run timetable for 3 schools in one. They will be forced to have 3 different timetables.
Is it a problem to run a timetable for the so-called 3 schools, or is it a problem to run 3 schools who have the same teacher and yet what is required to be taught is different in all these schools? Which is the problem here?
Yes, the problem is that you have teachers that are specializing in different categories but in one school. Teachers in JSS will not come down to teach the students, the pupils.
They will not?
Yeah, in these other classes they will not, because they are not trained.
All right, and what about the JSS?
That's the JSS I'm talking about. That.
Okay,
they will not come down.
All right.
The ones who are teaching the intermediaries and the lower may not teach the JSS.
So where does the problem arise? Because it means that already you have distinct teachers whose job allocation is for a specific segment of that learning process. So where would the confusion come in?
So the school will need to have 3 timetables.
Yes, but again, even 4. But where would the problem be? Because once you have 3 timetables, the problem is solved.
Yeah, you know, sir. I am trying to think very carefully about what are the core problems in our education system. One, we have problems with classrooms. 2, we have problems with capitation. 3, we've got problems with childhood poverty in those schools.
Feeding programs,
etc. But 4, in my imagination, when you start talking about timetables, I thought you're going to come about, and that's why I gave my example of the different taps. I was thinking that maybe the solution you are giving is to say CT is a good English teacher.
However,
but he needs 3 hours to make his point. Mathematics is a hard subject, but Ndu can do it in an hour. Okay? I thought we are going to optimize the skills of the teachers versus the time versus the scheduling. You know, optimization, not placement. Because I don't think placement is a problem.
It begins from placement. And that's why when we say the 3 timetables is the solution we are providing, that schools will have one system but the 3 schedules in one. So it solves that issue that would be problematic to school. Yes. Coming to the issue of optimization, as Molim says, it's not possible to optimize because every subject the ministry requires to have specific number of hours in a week or a specific number of minutes in a week. So if it's an issue of optimization, then it will be outside the schedule, which we are also providing that in the system.
Okay, you mentioned, quite a significant number of schools that are affected by this. Do we see then that there is the problems coming as a result, or rather, what problems do we see coming as a result of this misscheduling that you talk about?
Yes. In a learning environment or in a school, if time and resources are not well allocated, children will not get the best they deserve.
But do we see that happening? Do we see that there is a direct correlation between this improper scheduling and the outcomes that learners achieve at the end of a term or a form? Is that kind of collation done?
Yes, it is. Every time, education officials are going to schools to verify whether the number of hours somebody is supposed to teach has taught. Every time. So, if you find yourself not having enough time or timetable as required, then you have to get time outside the schedule and cover that work. So we are fixing that problem in the sense that no one single teacher, no one single class will have lesser resource allocated to them.
I imagine that if it was a 50% problem, that the Ministry of Education would have said, hang on guys, this thing you need to fix it, that we would have heard that it has come from them, that your scheduling is an issue. Because if we're saying that it definitely affects learning outcomes, right? It does. And we're saying up to 50% because that is really, really high, then that means learners, I would assume, in these schools then are suffering the negative outcomes because of scheduling mishaps. Yes. And that there would be a quality assurance benchmark that then is set at that ministry level to say, come on guys, we need to even be assured of what your scheduling looks like. I would assume that there would be something like that.
Yes, there are standards that are set. There are standards that are set. But when it comes to the actual implementation and programming becomes a big challenge. So many schools, those who can't get the software to run their programs, they end up doing it manually. And I'm saying that manual programs have their issues. Yes.
You know, technology doesn't function from thin air or in a vacuum. Technology more or less improves on what the human beings have been doing. And the selling point usually is efficiency. Because technology, once it's set in motion, unless it breaks down, it will do whatever it is that it has been instructed to do, and it will do it repeatedly, and it will do it well. But when you talk of the system that you're speaking of, are you therefore assuming that all these schools will have the requisite number of teachers? Because if you have a good schedule, and this is my question, and the teachers aren't adequate, how do you solve that problem?
Yes. That's why I'm saying it's a real issue. If teachers are not adequate, then how do you use those that are available to achieve the same results? Yes. So this means maybe there's, for example, if he's teaching math and chemistry, he has to be allocated the same number of hours for math and chemistry, and that's done on the timetable.
If you have inadequate teachers, then because the number of hours a teacher is supposed to actually teach, an optimum number is also known.
Correct.
So if they're inadequate, it means some people are going to carry a heavier load.
Yes, that's what's happening in schools. There are teachers who have a heavy workload. In fact, that's what I'm talking about. Calculating the curriculum-based establishment, CBE, that we literally have some schools that have more hours on the teacher. And that brings a big challenge. So what happens? You have to pick children from this class, combine with this class, so that it becomes one. The class bulges, but now you have to teach that hour. So it's a real issue. It's not a secret. The deficit of teachers in school in Kenya is evident. That's why TSC is employing even this time many teachers.
But even when you talk about the load that teachers have, I think the reality, as you've stated, is that teachers by and large are already overloaded. Yes. In fact, the talking point would be that now the schools where that isn't a problem. Yes. Because a good number of the schools that we have in this country have a problem. Now, the scheduling then helps with the allocation, as you put it, of resources. But everything you said so far can be done manually.
Yes. And you know, there's something I would like to ask you, sir. Yeah. You are an enthusiast of using of technology in schools. I am even more curious that many of our schools are in rural areas. Many of our schools are still chalk and dust and earth floor. How is this technology going to reach to that level? Number two, in terms of real education, how is this technology going to actually affect our kids and their ability to absorb information in schools?
Okay, the questions you are asking are relevant, but not tailored to what I'm trying to solve. If I was to solve the issue of a content delivery, then that would be a different issue. Yes, I'm fixing a very specific issue, which is whether the school is built in mud or built on bricks. They still need to have a schedule running.
Okay, you know, maybe I'm confused. Your introduction was you are an education technology enthusiast.
Correct.
It was not timetable enthusiast.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So my question is then still relevant.
Okay. Then if you allow me to speak outside the timetable, then I would, of which I provided the second part of my discussion was on standards and quality. Now that comes there on standards and quality. Schools, whether they are in rural or in town, must meet certain basic standards that are set by the Ministry of Education. So, which is my second solution on standards. And I was picking also a specific part of examinations.
If you talk about solutions, then there's a problem. What is the problem?
Yes. For the second part, standards.
Yes.
The quality and the level of exams most schools do has not been standardized. Examinations.
Most examinations that count are national examinations.
No, I'm not talking about the national examinations.
You're talking about the tests and the exams that are given in schools.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. They are not standardized. And if you ask me that you get a paper from a school and you say this paper is standard, I'll ask you, how do you know that this paper is standard? Go to any school around here, where your kid learns and so on. Pick one of the papers they did as their end term or end exam, and you ask them, the teacher or whoever is in charge, whether this paper is standard or not. So they will look at the paper and say, it is standard, but how? Is it scientifically determined? So that's the second part of my issue, providing a solution to that, whereby if you pick this paper, you upload it into the system, it tests using the AI system, and it tells you whether this paper is standard for this child or is not standard for this child.
Okay. How is that incorporated into the larger system, whereby things are set from the ministry level?
Yes. Now that's where I'm coming to. Also in the report, the recommendation by the Monavo report, okay, they have recommended 40% will be KIPSEA, done from the national level, whereby the tests are standardized, and then the children do and they get the results. 60% will be based at school level. So if school A is doing this test, and 60% will count to the average, to the overall score, school B is doing their own test, school C is doing their own test, different schools are doing their own tests. Yet it is 60% that will count for the plus the 40 to be 100%.
Are we assuming that the Ministry of Education will not have a say in this test, or they will not have given the schools an understanding of what the fundamentals should be?
Yes, those fundamentals.
Or are they just allowed to test willy-nilly as they see fit?
But what happens in the current schools? Where do people get exams?
I have no idea.
But teachers set exams.
Yes.
Even the national. Okay, let's go through this.
Yes.
The national exams, KCSE, KCPE, as we used to know them, and whatever they are now.
Yes.
It is teachers who are selected to set the questions.
They are called setters.
Yes. And these teachers are practitioners.
Correct.
Then number two, it is teachers who teach.
Correct.
And then teachers who set the exam.
And there are also teachers who mark.
Yes. And there are also teachers who mark.
Correct.
What we are struggling with is what is the problem. In fact, let us even go further. Our textbooks have the habit of, some of them after every topic, to give questions.
Absolutely.
And I've seen schools which take questions from the textbook, from different subjects, topics rather, and put them in the exam. So what we've been struggling with the whole hour is this a system problem, or is this a you problem?
It's both. It's both. I know we've said that teachers do this, but it's also possible that teachers would end up setting a paper that is not up to standard.
Let me ask a question. Have you taught?
I'm a practicing teacher, so I'm speaking from things that I really understand.
What subject do you teach?
I teach math and physics.
Good. Now, you have set exams before, have you not?
I do.
All right. When you prepare your students for the national exam, when you prepare them for the national exam,
yes.
How did you set your exams? How did you set your tests?
Yes, you sit down.
What was your reference point?
Course book. You pick KLB.
All right. And if you have an examination class, what did you gather and what did you use in for testing and preparing the students for the exams?
Yes, of course you pick the items from the course book.
Okay.
After you pick the items from the course book, you arrange them in order of the ability of those questions. So that you will decide as a teacher that I want for this particular class, I want it to have more questions that require remembering.
Memory.
Because memory. Or I want this exam to be focused more on explanations, not remembering. I want this exam to focus more on application. Or I'll still sit down as a teacher and say, I want to have a combination of all these. I want some questions for remembering, some questions for application, some questions that require explanation, and so on. So what I'm trying to look at here is that you have children of different abilities. How will you set a paper, or how will somebody set a paper and ensure that actually this class here, their ability would require more memorizing, therefore you give them that paper. How would you determine that?
But isn't that why we have a whole new system of curriculum in the first place? Because what it does is that it reduces the emphasis now that you place on an exam, and through the year you're dealing with continuous assessment, you're dealing with projects, which they have to do on a regular basis. So you remove the dependence on finding out what you're looking for from an exam. That's a new curriculum has been put in place to solve that exact problem.
I think people are not getting the point. Curriculum implementation or curriculum design is determined by the type of testing you give to children. You know, we need to really get that very clear. Even the new system that everybody really is about, and we are moving out with it, eventually we will determine how it's going to work based on the outcome of these children. So if you want to know how a teacher delivers, if you want to know how a system is effective, look at the type of evaluation. Because the type of evaluation
Actually, I would put it differently. Look at the response and the outcome of the evaluations on the students. Because the students, that if you want to understand a teacher's performance, it's the student. Yes, that's where the proof of the pudding is. Yes.
So that's where I'm coming from. How will we know that we have developed correct test items for students? In education, we look at what we call the Bloom's taxonomy. In the Bloom's taxonomy, any setter, even NEC as you put it, when they sit down to set an exam, they look at the Bloom's taxonomy. How many items have we put here that require the remembering? We have 10. How many items would require explanation? We have this and this. And then they compile all that. Then somebody else looks at it and then they say, this is well balanced. So this is a standard paper. But if I was setting an exam as a teacher, and maybe I'm in a hurry and so on, I would pull a paper online, print and give to my students.
Which is not necessarily wrong.
Hey, how do you say, okay, it could necessarily not be wrong, but it also could be wrong. Both ways.
You know the setting of exams. You see, there's a thinking for the longest time when our system was exam based. Let me call it that for purpose of conversation. And it was said that some of the schools that continuously did well, there are those who thought it was because the vast majority of those students went to certain schools, had done well in their primary schools. But there was a factor that wasn't listened to. Many of these schools also had teachers who had the advantage of setting exams and marking.
Yes.
So when it came to setting exams, they knew exactly how to prepare the students. They knew because they understood what was being set without necessarily saying we're setting it, but they also understood how it is marked. So they taught the students how to respond to the questions appropriately. Okay?
Yes.
That hasn't changed very much, really. Because at the end of the day, if you want the students to understand how it is to best respond to a question, whether it's continuous assessment or not, then you must train them.
Correct.
If you talk about student-centered learning, where a lot of what the students are required to do is a stimulus response situation where you're not being asked to memorize something, you're being asked to respond to it as it comes to you. Again, they have to be trained to do that. They simply won't know it. Now, we found ourselves with CBC, and it's a hodgepodge of very many things, and we're still trying to navigate our way through it to figure out exactly where we are. The system that you have, I'm repeating a question I asked earlier on, the solution that you propose, what problem is it solving?
It's solving the problem of substandard exam papers. That's the specific thing.
Okay, so from where the exams are being set, you're saying that there's a problem?
Correct. Not at the national level. I'm not saying NEC. I'm specifically looking at schools, school-based exams. And that's why I said 40% KIPSEA, for example, will be national exam. That's no problem. That's standardized. But school A is doing their own exams. School B is doing their own internal exams. So how do we ensure that at least these papers done from all these schools are standardized? That's the issue. Right? Because we are actually talking about CBC. It's not an issue. We are not running away from exams. 40% KIPSEA set by NEC, tick. This 60% will be set from different schools by different teachers. How do we ensure that it is standardized so that that 60% that a student gets in Nairobi has the same value and quality as that student in Mombasa, that student in Kisumu? So there must be a standard criteria of this evaluation
that everybody is on. Well, look, I think there definitely is something that has come out of this conversation this morning, and want to thank you, Harrison Agosa, for being our guest this hour. Thank you for coming and sharing your insights. And education is something that we can never not discuss. Thanks for being a part of this Monday conversation. Kenya's biggest conversation starts off this week. Thank you for being here this morning, and we continue with more conversations. Have a wonderful day, and we meet again tomorrow, God willing, at 6 a.m. Good morning. It's 10 o'clock.
Good morning. This is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira. Newly appointed 9 members of the IEBC selection panel are due to be